I could not be here breathing and be comfortable if I was really as bad as they was making it. You know, nobody could be around me. So for me to be this calm, I must have some kind of inner peace. And my inner peace is knowing that once everybody take the time to really see what type of person I am, you'd be surprised that I stuck around this long. I have to make the life that I do live as happy as I can and try to do the best with what I have. You know, live the best life I can live, be as happy as I can be. Nothing is perfect for anybody. I don't.
Boys, I swear, I think I figured it out. You know why they don't want us redneck brothers and sisters and the hood brothers and sisters getting along? You know why? Because we'd be unstoppable. I'm telling you right now, we would shut shit down.
Welcome. Let me put myself on the screen. Welcome, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Grace Uncensored. Tonight, we're doing a deep dive on Karmelo Anthony trial. So, if you don't know, we have been doing deep dives on a lot of tragic cases. Okay. In this case, we can't let it go unheard, highlighting that we have some upcoming events coming up. So before we get into that, I have a lot to unpack today. This is going to be a really deep dive. We're going to be, hold on one second. Let me put Carmelo back on the screen. So tonight we're going to be basically showing the audience how Carmelo Anthony was set up from the beginning. So today we're going to be presenting you some information. We have like a 40-minute cook. Okay, we got some good clips from TikTok that's highlighting some important information about the judge, Carmelo lawyer, and the prosecutor. Okay, we're also going to go into the evidence of the Carmelo Anthony case, what's inside of it. So we did look at the video, the last live. We looked at the video and it was in high definition. It was pretty good. So what I did today was take a zoom in clip, the best that I could, of Carmelo Anthony's situation. And I think we have some things to unravel. There's some things to unravel. Lastly, after we go over that, we're going to kind of like go into the evidence. Okay, other evidence such as we're going to be looking at witness statements, the coach witness statements, and we're going to like take it from there. We have a whole lot to show you. Let me replace this on the screen so if people don't know what's going on, they should know. Now, let's play this one first. I have so much to show you guys. It is like ridiculous. But I hope you guys are having a good night. If you don't know who I am, because I didn't say my name is Miss Grace, and I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I am a separatist. And what I do is separate from the BS and I choose God first. Okay. So this is what we're going to be doing here, choosing righteousness first. And we're going to be showing things unbiased. Let's see. Let's put this up. Okay. All right. Now, to give you guys my opinion, honestly, I do believe at first I thought that Carmelo lawyers should be basically going for not just a mistrial, but also to, I think at first, this is what I was thinking, that they should go for a sentence reduction. Now, the reason why I thought that is because, one, as I mentioned to you guys, the way the case was presented, we're going to show you today, because the last part of this live is the podcast form. It's supposed to be unbiased, the first part, and the second part is like two opposing sides highlighting day two of the trial. But what I have for you is some of, the evidence in real form. But what I do believe, because of the way that it was presented, reflecting to what the podcast is going to do to some people. It's going to offend you. It's going to offend you because when I had to listen to this AI podcast, I had to like to step out of my emotions because I had to remember that it's actually reenacting or talking about what is in the document. So this is why today's live is highlighting that Carmelo was set up. So let's stop prolonging and we're gonna keep things going. Please hit the like button. Thank you for being here. We're gonna cook for about 3 hours, y'all. I'm giving you a heads up. Let's go. And let me know, can you hear? Okay.
Do you have any updates on the Carmelo Anthony case? One of the things that I will say is next week we'll be in court on two motions that were filed: motion to recuse the judge and also motion for a new trial. So it's an uphill battle. We do ask for your prayers, not only for the legal team, but especially for Carmelo Anthony, because if you believe in the Constitution, it's being tested. And right now we want to defend him as best we can and see if there's a way that we can get him an opportunity of justice. Visit standwithcarmelo.com, and there our team is providing educational information on the appeals process and also up-to-date information on our most recent filings. Okay, I appreciate that. Don't forget.
So if you don't know what I do it kind of educational style here. So let's cook, y'all. Great, Miss Grace gonna cook, okay?
Get y'all, the fight is an uphill battle, and always remember they are not like us. We got to put the work in. All right, now appreciate you, of course. That's all of that. Amazing.
Every Texan has the right to defend themselves when they reasonably fear for their life. Self-defense is a protection that applies to each and every one of us. There are two sides to every story, and Carmelo is a 17-year-old kid and an excellent student. He is the captain of his track team. He is the captain of his football team. And prior to this, what was on his mind was what college he was going to go to. This is a tragedy all the way around for both families. Rushing to judgment, trial by public perception and trial by media is not how we ensure justice is done.
Well, that's how we do it now because of the non-transparency. So if you don't know who this is Carmelo Anthony, original lawyer. And this gentleman who defended Carmelo Anthony basically allegedly did a under the cover or under the table deal. Now, guys, if you have been watching me or you haven't, no matter what I talk about, especially when I'm talking about lawyers, judges, courts, I'm very transparent. These people know each other. They help each other get sweet deals between case. Like, for instance, they'll say, hey, look, give him probation and this, and then this next case you got going on, look, this is what it really is. Da, 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 da. Okay, we could do this. And this is how they exchange our life as though it's a game. It's really like heart wrenching to talk about, but it is the truth. So this is what is assumed to have gone on because of this sworn affidavit at the center of the controversy right now of him that stands in the middle of this appeal. Okay, again, I thought that a sentence reduction probably would have been better because I do believe that this is involuntary manslaughter. I don't believe that this is murder in the first degree because a lot of the things that we're going to show you today that they did not present in the case. But with that goes to say, now that we know so much about what went on in the background, how the judge came out and said some funny business, I can understand the approach that they're taking. So allegedly on July 15, Mike Howard, one of Carmelo Anthony primary lawyer, trial defense attorney, laid out this document of a multi-month timeline and quiet negotiation, detailing the exact perimeters of the alleged gentleman agreement and how it suddenly collapsed fundamentally altering the defense strategy. So we're going to finish listed a little bit more, and we're going to let him cook. And what you hear him is only talk about personality and character, which is very important. But that's not the primary defense when it comes to a case. And this is where he severely messed up. When you hear what's presented, even when you look at the last video that we made, all he talked about is how Karmelo was this type of person, this, that, and the third. And when you look at the evidence, we're going to compare the evidence submission by both sides, and you're going to agree that this man did not do his job. It was severely disgusting. We're going to show you what evidence that Karmelo Antony lawyers presented. Okay, so you can understand the why behind why people are so anticipating him to get a new trial and things to be done correctly.
Well, the fact of the matter is, like I said, there's two sides to every story, and we've only heard both sides. In any criminal case, the police investigate, and the defense is always far behind that. And so it is a.
So let's move forward just a little bit because this was like a 6-minute clip.
On the hearing and what was going on and what the judge was saying. I think we have to all remember Karmelo is a 17-year-old kid who's never been in any sort of trouble before. If you could just put yourself in his shoes, this is a scary, bewildering process. And I can't even imagine what was going through his head, just as I'm sure I can't imagine what was going through the heads of the Metcalf family. So, this is something that is new to all of them and incredibly trying.
We also going to flash back to the 2 interviews of the Metcalf twin, the surviving twin. You're going to hear some things, and we're going to revisit it so people can understand why everybody felt like this should have been a mistrial, that a lot of information was not let in, and they didn't take a good legal approach.
But the people who want to know, why were you selected? I mean, what is your
Listen really closely. This was a great question. Why was he selected? In a few clips coming up, you're going to hear why he was allegedly selected. Okay? Good old boy system, allegedly, until proven.
I can't speak as to why I was selected. In any case, it's important to have an attorney that you connect with, that you feel has the right amount of experience and the right investment in the case. And I'm not speaking to anybody else. I just know that that's important.
So he made a statement here that he hasn't spoken to anyone else, and I'm just going to add this. I believe if they do an investigation, they're going to find some connection between him, the judge, the prosecutor, highlighting that it is alleged that him and the prosecutor actually worked together in a law firm. Okay, so let's just finish listen while they make sweetheart deals behind their client's back and don't let them know to, a couple of hours before they have to make a decision.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to speak for them at this point, but I think you can imagine that the press coverage on this case has been immense, and the online and public reaction has been immense, and unfortunately, as is common in our culture, especially lately, the vitriol and the public reaction, one way or the other, has been intense, and threats and talk of race war, all kinds of insanity isn't good for, obviously, the Anthony family. It's not good for the Metcalf family. It's not good for the peace and safety of our community. So, I would ask, and I know both sides would ask, that the temperature on this be allowed to come down.
And we will not. Let's move forward just a little bit. Now, let's listen to my man that's coming up. Let's play this real quick.
People in Texas that don't understand that you shouldn't put your hands on people. I've seen a lot of comments about blah, blah, blah. Keep your hands to yourself, and you'll stay out of a lot of trouble if you just don't touch people. Number 2, mind your own business. That's pretty simple. If you see something that's not correct, get somebody that's responsible for that.
Now, when I show you some stuff, when we look at the evidence, you're going to, well, the video, you're going to see, in my opinion, I'm still trying to determine there's a 7 minute lapse from when the video starts until something actually occurs. Now, with the evidence that they have, I'm going to show you, it shows the Metcalf twins coming in, and then on one of this particular clip, it flips to the high version of seeing the tent. Okay. Now, then we wait like 7 minutes, a long time, until you actually see Carmelo get up. Now, there's some things I'm going to show you because the clips are just so weird, and I'm just giving you a lot. Now, what my man said right here is totally true, because the first thing that the defense should have really, really pushed was the fact that, according to the video, to my understanding, and to some testimony, Carmelo was under the tent first, sitting there. When you see the video, and that's what I said in the first live, we have to really pay attention to the rainy conditions. You're going to see it. It's not as like drizzly as people may think. It's kind of heavier. You're going to see kids crowd up under different tents. Okay, so I'm throwing out a lot out there, but I do want to highlight the most important part of everything that was just said is what he said, and that's keep your hands to yourself. And I believe it was about 7 minutes or so of something that is missing. Okay, between 40 seconds of the video that I showed you when we get to that part and 7 minutes, it is something missing. So what I have done is record it with my Zoom, and then it was so long I had to like forward it. So this is what we're going to look at today, and you're going to see what happens.
A teacher, a police officer. Don't take matters into your own hands because you could die. And number three, just be polite and kind and be nice to people. Goes a long way. Saying please, thank you, pardon me, excuse me, things like that. It goes a very long way.
You are not entitled to a fair jury under the United States Constitution. People keep saying that you're entitled to a fair jury. You are not. You're entitled to an impartial jury, is what the Sixth Amendment to the United States Constitution. And so when we think about that, people say the following: well, you're entitled to a jury of your peers. Where this comes from is this comes from the Magna Carta, because what used to end up happening was they would bring in, colony and so forth, they'd bring in professional juries who were elitists, who would look their nose down at everybody and stand in judgment. And finally, we said, no, we're not going to do that. We want an impartial jury who is picked from a cross section of the community in which the crime actually occurred. Yep. And so when people are out there and saying that you deserve a jury of people who dress like me, walk, talk, and act like me, and just might be the next best thing, but not quite me, that's not it. You're not entitled to a jury of people who look like you. You're entitled to a jury of the community. You're entitled to that, the community. And so people say,
let's break that down just a little bit. So one of the things I do want to highlight, that a lot of us don't like jury duty. Okay, we don't like jury duty at all. So for us to, I'm gonna give it real, me either. I think only one time that I was asked for jury duty in Jersey, and I had answered so terribly to the questionnaires that I never got asked again. I don't know if that was a lifelong stamp, but since I've been in Georgia, I haven't been asked to go to jury duty. But randomly, people get summons to go to jury duty. And I will say a lot of us, I'm going to say me and average American, is not too gun-ho to be a jury. Okay. I'm just going to give you a little example. I had a ticket, failure to stop at a light. I'm always talking about something where I had to fight my own little stuff. I be fighting those tickets. And the jury of my peers, they seemed a little aggravated, tired. The proceedings was too long for them, things like that. Also, we have to take in consideration. So I'm talking about the tenure of the people that's actually there. So for us to even combat that on a social level, we have to participate. Me too. If they ever ask me, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna put something nice on the questionnaire. Okay. So with that goes to say the next thing is that I have to throw this out here. We don't understand the power of the jury either. When we're on a jury, we can actually do a process called it's like jury nullification. It's basically when we can, if somebody's being charged with something, we can get that law overturned, and it's called a jury nullification process. I need you guys to look into that. I'm gonna have to throw that out there when it comes to some common knowledge that we really don't have, and that we, a lot of us don't care about. But when it comes to situation like this, how can we even the playing field? So at the end of the day, this is the foundation of allegedly them choosing jury of our peers, because again, what is he talking about? The them versus us, the haves versus the have nots. So I know the main thing is like, don't make it a color thing, because that's a storyline to get us to shut up in the midst of all of this crazy stuff, but to reflect on the totality of the situation. If you don't got it, you don't got it. So that this whole judicial process was actually, you want to, I'm just going to keep it real. It was set up for the Caucasian people. It was set up for you guys. When the founding fathers set up the Constitution, we were still enslaved. How did you let your laws get this far and wide? Because it still applies to you, depending on what jurisdiction you're in, depending on the tincture. So just to talk to the average person on how serious cases like this is, because if lawyers are able to do this and get away with it, and nobody's able to actually go through the hard process of exposing them, getting the pill, getting the case turned over, they never actually build the bridge for anybody else that would possibly have this issue. So I have to talk in a color, in a way that, like, I'm purple and everybody's purple, so we could realize how, just on a judicial level, this is ridiculous what we're going to hear go on. But I said a mouthful. Let's keep it going. Please hit the like button as you come in.
And what does that mean?
Now, see, this guy is really, really smart. Now, if you don't remember who this is, you should. This is Mr. Sean Kent. This is the lawyer that actually represented Mr. Rick Chow in that case. And he really made some good points in here. I don't know about you, me as a mother, I'm taking notes about everything that I see on here concerning any kind of cases or anything concerning black people being charged for different things. Now, when I saw this passage that he made, just explaining the fact that people got so upset because that whole courtroom was white, he made a good point. You know what I'm saying? When something happens in a certain area, neighborhood, they are to get the people in that area to be on the jury. That situation happened in the area. It makes sense because that's your community. So why not have the people in the community on the jury, because it's affecting their community? Like he said at the beginning of this video, he was talking about how.
Oh, another way, I'm just thinking from a legal perspective, how they can show bias. How is the jury like notified? Like, how does it go out? How do they pick who houses get it? Is it like a random process? Do they go over certain things? These are some of the things that we need to know in our own jurisdiction, because this is something that Carmelo could use in his case if we finding out that it's only a certain type of people that was coming in. But I forgot to also mention, even when black jurors come in, the process of jury elimination is very important, and the lawyer has to be, little witty to pick the right people, because the process is a little weird. I remember when I had to do it, it was like the prosecutor gets to choose, talk and ask, and then they'll be like, they're going to keep them. Then I get to talk and ask, and then I'm like, I don't want them. And then I get to talk and ask, and I'm like, I'm going to keep them. And then he'd be like, I don't want them. And then it'd be eliminated like that. So this is how the jury process selection takes place in court. So whatever happened there, they didn't say it was any underlying deals related to that, but we can see what happened to the geographics of the jury.
People were talking about the jury had to be fair. The people that's in the jury have to be fair, and that's not true. He went in about
all white jury. The attorney who convinced
Let's go back just a little bit. Hold on.
all-white jury, the attorney who convinced Carmelo not to speak on his own behalf while Kyle Rittenhouse took the stand in his own defense.
Now, y'all know I brought up Kyle Rittenhouse, okay? Y'all know I can't stand the likes of him. I do hope and pray. You know, you don't supposed to wish bad on everybody, but you want everybody to get what they're supposed to get. That he ends up like Zimmerman, homeless, homeless.
That's a logical point. The attorney
Thank
who
you.
allowed the father of the deceased and his friends to help prosecute his client, and now Carmelo Anthony has been sentenced to 35 years in prison. I'm going to say what many people are thinking. They trusted this man with their son's life. This wasn't a traffic ticket. This wasn't a misdemeanor. This was a murder case where a young man's entire future was on the line. Again, how do you defend a situation where you got pushed and you stabbed in response? If this guy allows an all-white jury, yeah, okay. How much y'all pay this man? The man's wearing a pink suit, for God's sake.
Shut up.
He looks like he can't be trusted. Y'all thought that they was going after the black lawyer who represented Rick Chow down in South Carolina? This guy and that guy gonna have to run up. Aside from the all,
Let's move back.
what is
Let's go a little further. I didn't know his was so long.
the mercy of the.
Ooh,
So I admittedly did not keep up.
let's watch this one.
That's what.
This one I want to watch. Hold on. These are a few clips that I put together because I didn't want to be jumping between.
The mercy of the courts here, would that have played to his benefit? We'll never know because that never happened.
Karmelo Anthony's lawyer's best shot for saving his client is to inform the jury, either in jury selection or an opening statement, or hopefully both, that, hey, guess what? You don't have to believe that my client reasonably believes that that knife was necessary to defend himself. You just have to have a reasonable doubt as to whether or not he reasonably believed it. In other words, I don't have to prove that he believed it was necessary. You just have to have a reasonable doubt as to whether or not he believed it was necessary. That's it.
Two things. One, he didn't even present a case of reasonable doubt at all. And the second thing that we have to consider that they should review, and I haven't got to read the appeal, but I will do it this weekend because we're going to be going into our next part, is the judge's orders, like not the judge's direction to the jury when it was time for them to go back and deliberate. The judge's direction plays a big part on the tone, on what the jury takes as law, what's not law. So sometimes the judge would say, this is what's law and what's not. I think that, I can't say that's stepping over the boundaries, but in some cases, I do believe it is, just like what we saw in the YSL case. Baby, let's move forward. That judge overstepped his boundaries so many times, but we're going to get into the judge, the prosecutor, a little bit more.
And if you have a reasonable doubt that he believed that force was necessary, it is your duty, it is your obligation, it is your moral commitment to find him not guilty. So that's what Karmelo Anthony's lawyer needs to explain to the jury, either in opening or in jury selection, or cross-examination, or final argument, or hopefully all the above. But that's the issue. Whether or not there's even a reasonable doubt as to whether or not Karmelo Anthony believed that that knife was necessary to defend himself.
Carmelo Anthony's lawyer, Mike Howard, did not even try to represent that kid. Let's get into it. So I admittedly did not keep up with this trial because I did not want to hear secondhand. I want to know what happened. I don't want somebody to tell me. This is how I make my videos. I give you the proof. I don't tell you what happened. Did you know that Mike Howard did not call one medical expert to the stand? He is claiming Carmelo feared for his life. Carmelo was being surrounded and pushed on wet bleachers while it was raining, and Mike Howard did not call one medical expert to the stand to tell the jury what would happen if Carmelo was shoved down 3 bleachers on these wet bleachers.
Exactly. And we do have the clip. Let's pause real quick. We're going to put this down and we're going to show you the clip on the bleachers. I think, should we jump and show the clip on the bleachers? He didn't explain anything about Karmelo Anthony's health. He did just a little bit in the opening statements, but this is some of the things that he lacked when it comes to representing his client. Let me put this on the screen real quick. We're going to look at because I think it takes a little bit more examination. Do y'all want to see it now? We're going to show it right now, just a little bit, and then we're going to get back to this video because we're going to get into the judge and also the prosecutor. Okay, bear with me. Let's play this one. Let's play this. This is a zoom. I know it's blurry, but this is a zoom of like 2 minutes and 26 seconds of the long video. We're gonna look at the video, but I had to because it was at the corner, and I'm like, okay, I need to see this. Now, in the first minute, you're gonna see basically this is kind of like the beginning of the 7 minutes, and you can see it's kind of open now. Only gray that I can see is kind of like right here in the middle, and it kind of makes sense to what we're going to see towards the time when the conflict ensued. So now I'm going to fast forward just a little bit. Now we're going to watch this for about a minute. This is the gray is still there. Now you see someone right here. Now we're going to watch the video even clearer, but this is what happens when you zoom in and you don't have high definition or 4K. Okay, so you can see someone right here. If I can show you guys on, I'm gonna say like the far right hand side, that he's kind of moving his head. He stands up right now. This is him standing up, and then you see kind of like a push. One, and then it's like another push that happens. We still have a couple of more seconds into this. It's one push, one get up and push. It's like he got up and went closer to Karmelo. Now you have to understand that this is not taking place as fast as what they're making it seem. I believe this is over 7 minutes or so, give or take 4. The reason why I think 7 is because they show the twins coming in, and then they get to the clip where the twins are in front of the tent. That's why the last live I was trying to zoom into that little tent in the middle, because you'll be able to see. So we got another angle of that. So let's finish play this, okay? And this is why people saying now you have someone else walk up. This is after the first push. We have about 26 more seconds before he gets up. And it seems like they're talking. And he's up and he pushes again. And then it looks like a push went back. And what I'm seeing here, and people may not like it, it looks like, I don't know, it looks like Karmelo pushes, then jugs. Like pushing back, then like boom, and ran. But I'm showing too much too fast. Let's get back to what we were watching, okay? Please hit the like button if you like the information that I share, how I like to deep dive and, just comprehensively show people like details so we can, one, not always look at everything so emotionally, also see the real injustice in things, because we take on this narrative and we use words over and over and over, and we don't get to the minute details that actually caused the situation. Again, this is what we have to address. What led to the situation? Not only the uncontrolled environment, but also what they were trying to keep out of the record. And I just want to highlight this, okay? When in my research, I think it was a reason why this sweetheart deal was something. According to what the affidavits or non-binary affidavits was leading to keep out, and it was like, for what? It says concession by the prosecution. The state agreed to keep Anthony's cell phone records and his school disciplinary history entirely sealed from the jury. Now, I don't know what Karmelo's school history, but everything seemed to be pretty much on the up and up when it came to that. Now, what I think was possibly a concern was maybe cell phone. I don't know. I don't know. But this is what I found because it didn't make sense to me. Why wouldn't his lawyer want them to talk about Carmelo's character, who he was, this, that, and the third? It was something about this sweetheart deal that made them agree. And then the defense was in exchange, the defense agreed not to introduce gather evidence or testimony alleging that the victim Metcalf and his twin brother had a history of bullying and making racist remarks. This is according to our research. Okay, all right. Is NBC Dallas and the Dallas News. Okay, if y'all need to see the link, just let me know. I can put it at the bottom. Okay. So this is where this information is coming from. So now y'all can understand something played in the back when it came to this sweetheart deal. I don't know. They both had something going on in their background, but in all legally, it was not supposed to be used unknowingly without the Metcalf. Well, Metcalf family probably knew, but without Austin, Carmelo Anthony family knowing, or Carmelo to the time he knew. So I just wanted to highlight that. That was something very important that people may not have known why some of this stuff been going on in the background. Let's keep listening.
What would happen if he hit his head or his neck? Did not call a medical expert. After you have the medical expert tell the jury that yes, you can break your neck if you were thrown down some bleachers.
Then, as y'all know, bones are frail when you have epilepsy and you're on the medicine. So I know he played football, but you already knew he had a broken shoulder or fractured shoulder, whatever was going on, which made him more vulnerable. And this is what I didn't hear being brought up in the case, but it probably was, okay? Because I didn't read it verbatim.
You could show cases of where people have fallen down bleachers and have injured themselves very badly. Mike Howard did not do that. He did not even fucking try. That is a basic. I took 2 years of pre-law at JUCO, okay? I have represented myself in court, but it wasn't to a jury, it was to a judge.
I know that's right.
Like my 4th underage drinking violation.
I'm with you. We got our own, but not drinking. Y'all know I ain't with that. Oh, I can't stand that drinking. Let's play this real quick. Yeah, drinking ain't good for me.
Because if he fell down them bleachers, he could have broke.
That makes the decedent in this case maybe the initial aggressor. But you really still then have to look at whether or not Karmelo Antony responded with appropriate force, he used a deadly weapon, and whether or not he was in imminent fear of great bodily injury. That's the standard in Texas and most every state, to determine whether or not his actions, the way he perceived him, the way Karmelo Antony perceived him, when he took out that knife and stabbed him. The good part is if the decedent was the aggressor initially. The bad part for Karmelo, if in fact it's true that he sort of said, touch me and you'll see, because that's that aggression.
And that's what I think, that little part that we're going to review. We're going to review it. I'm going to put it on the big one so y'all can try to hone in and look at the corner yourself. It'll be probably a little bit more clear. But that's what I say, like he pushed him, and then it was probably a good 10 seconds or 15 between the next push. And that's when I think he said that. He said it was 2 hits. Okay. And that's when he came to push him the second time, I think Austin sat next to Carmelo, because you see somebody sitting down, and then that's the same person who backs up. You're going to watch that clip again. So it is intimidation, because not only did he push him, because they testified that it was just a little push, but not only did he push him, then he gets right next to him in his space. And Carmelo and he pushes. You see a push and stands up like Carmelo pushes him, but it looks like, in my opinion, it looks like Carmelo pushed, then jabbed him. It wasn't what I thought I saw, what I thought it could be, where he kind of stood up. That was my main first thing. So I think he pushed him, then it was and ran. Okay, we're going to rewatch that.
And that's that predisposition towards violence that doesn't have a place in a true self-defense case.
What are the chances of Karmelo, his life being in jeopardy compared to the stabbing of Austin?
We do know that he's significantly smaller, and we know that he has epilepsy, so that also has to be factored in, because then you have to think about the cognitive, the brain, and what could happen if he would have hit his head when he fell, if he would have had a seizure. Who knows how risky it is? Did you know that Karmelo Anthony had epilepsy?
I did not.
Okay, so does that change your opinion on that?
It does influence it.
Do you know that epilepsy impacts cognitive ability in your thinking?
Yes, it does.
So that first,
Yes, it does. It makes you cloudy. It makes you sleepy, especially if you're taking the medicine. Okay. And epilepsy is nothing that's timed. So I don't know if he had epilepsy and, with seizures. Okay. Because you could have epilepsy where you just kind of like, but if it's with signs and symptoms of seizures, that's really a hard diagnosis and a life to live, because it can happen anytime. So imagine, and these things can come on from stress, light flashing. It depends on what's your signs and symptoms. These are some of the things that I know. If y'all don't know, I am a nurse. I have 13 years of a background in traveling. I'm a COVID nurse. We ain't gonna talk about that. Survive that. Fuchi need to go to jail. But what that goes to say, I take care of a lot of patients who have seizures and things like that. So the signs and symptoms could be pretty vague. They can just start looking, going into space out of nowhere, just, or like I said, stress. Sometimes it could be warm weather. Yes, they get hot and they can have a seizure. I had a patient that I took care of that we keep the room a certain temperature. They get neuro type seizures. That's in worst cases, but there's a lot that goes on with it that wasn't really honed in the defense. And I'm gonna show you what the defense showed. Okay.
furthermore, feeds into him not being guilty of murder, because that also impacts his thinking in the situation, not thinking, not factoring in, quickly reacting, not thinking, I'm going to kill this person. This person may die for me doing this. This is just going to get them off me. Quick, boom. Get them off me, run, move, drop the knife, go about my business. That is impacted by epilepsy.
I don't think he should have gotten 35 years because it was on them. Even if it is still a murder charge, and I think that would still pass, you can reduce that sentence 2 to 20 years for a crime of passion. Although he did escalate the situation.
And that's what I agree with. I agree on a lesser statement. Sentence. That's what I agree. I don't agree on him doing 35 years. Even Karmelo said, I did it. His guilt said he did it, but does he deserve the 35 years? No. And that's the most important thing on why things are happening on the 19th and the 20th, because he don't deserve the 35 years.
He could have left. And when people were surrounding you, telling you to leave, when you didn't provoke them, he checked if he was okay. He ran away. He came back to check on him. This shows me that he probably didn't try to kill him. It was probably a split-second decision to try to get out of that situation. I do think he was overcharged. There's a reasonable argument to say you could reduce that sentence.
My argument is that he was guilty of murder, so I think we agree. I think that they could have given him a lesser sentence and they could have factored in the evidence.
Okay, and this is the one I talk about prosecution witnesses. The last video I talked about some of the witnesses, the cops, the coaches, the forensics, whatever. This one talks about the civilian witnesses, the kids, the teammates of Austin who were there under the tent, okay? According to them, well, number one, let me start by saying this. Where's Hunter? Why didn't Hunter testify? Everyone is dying to know why Hunter didn't testify. Because some of y'all don't jump in my comments talking about, he's traumatized. Of course he is. Of course he is. But guess what? I've been a criminal lawyer for 23 years. Traumatized witnesses testify all the time. In rape cases, the person who's sexually assaulted testifies. Child molestation, the children testify. So don't use that as an excuse. I'm wondering what they're hiding with Hunter, is my question. Number one. Number two, Eddie Carter is clearly a liar. Like, why would you put that guy up and not be prepared for him to downplay his friendship with Karmelo? Clearly, it ain't the hot ticket to be at that school and be friends with fucking Karmelo. He just killed your boy, right? But when he diminishes their relationship and then gets called out on cross-examination, it makes you look like a fucking liar.
So let's stop right here because I'm going to show you two things. One, let me show you the evidence that the defense showed and how obsolete it is. We're going to show you that. And then we're going to get into Austin's brother's interview. We're going to relook at that, okay? So let's put this on the screen. Thank you for being here. Let's see, which one is this? Oh my God. Is this it? Okay. This is why people believe that Mr. Howard should be lose his bar license. Period. Let's just go to the top. This is the evident packet that is located on the website that I showed you guys that has everything transparent about what happened in the trial allegedly. Evidence packet that has been submitted on the behalf of Carmelo Anthony. And I'm going to tell you, this is disgusting. I am literally fighting a failure to move over ticket in the state of Georgia. And one of my motions with the evidence attached to it is longer than this. Let's look at what they submitted on the behalf of Carmelo. I would assume this is showing the friend that tried to testify against him and say he didn't know him. Okay, let's see. Can this person rotate? Okay. This is what the defense literally showed. I don't see any significance when it comes to the case, only that the guy knew Carmelo. I'm just being honest. Y'all let me know. This is why people said that this lawyer was allegedly, and this is according to TikTok investigators, that he was sent. He was sent to Carmelo. He actually found them, according to TikTok investigators, that he looked for the family and offered his services, allegedly. And you saw the chaos around this case when they had our good old crackhead, famous crackhead in the black community, CW, Charleston White. Okay, I'm just gonna say it one time. You guys allowed this man to be big, and he's a whole pack of ex crack, or maybe current, allegedly. Caused chaos in this case. Okay, this is what was allowed to happen. Like people were getting sent to the family. Why I believe people were being sent to the family? Because I know how it is to get people sent to you when they want to shut you up and control your narrative. I lived it. It is real. It's a thing called gang stalking. It's gang stalking methods, and they use third party connections to have people get into your life, help you with certain things, to sabotage you. This shit ain't no joke. What is this lawyer showing? What we're seeing right now is a defense evidentiary packet. Can y'all wait? Am I crazy? Wait a minute. Let me make sure y'all guys can see me on the screen. I want to make sure that I'm not. Can y'all see this? This is what this. We're almost done. 14 pages of pictures that we could have found, and we did find on social media. Social media. This is the friend that said he didn't know him. But obviously, like they just said, it's not popular to be friends to somebody who did something to the cool bad kids, just like in the Nolan Well case. It's cooler to be to hide stuff and be quiet instead of tell the truth. Like I believe all of his friends did, these fake friends, buddies. My buddies. Okay. So that's all the evidence that he showed, his captain award, and we're done. That is exactly what Carmelo Anthony lawyer showed. I am freaking astonished. I can't even believe it. Just to give you an introductory, this is the prosecution packet of evidence, 58 pages at least. Okay? Give me something to look at. We're going to probably look through this in a second, but this is the video capturing, the pictures capturing the twins going in. They showing everything. This is what the defense was supposed to show. When they're lying to the public and tell the public, oh, when you're being accused of something, you don't have to present something. It's the people who are accusing you to present something. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You don't have to present nothing. That's a lie. You have to counteract what they're saying about you. You have to show proof. They're lying to the public. This is not normal at all. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, let's move forward. So now we're at today years old, where we have another powerhouse. Well, not another powerhouse because the first lawyer was supposed to be, but we have a powerhouse team that's supposed to be on the job to get this appeal process. Okay.
With Karmelo. Clearly, it ain't the hot ticket to be at that school and be friends with fucking Karmelo. He just killed your boy, right? But when he diminishes their relationship and then gets called out on cross-examination, it makes you look like a fucking liar.
So that's the pictures that we just saw of him and his friend with the curly hair. Okay.
And it makes me not believe nothing he's saying if he's lying about.
So this is his new defense team. We're going to keep our eye on what happens on the 19th and the 20th. The reason why we're going live and we're doing this series in the middle of what's going on with the Nolan Wells case, because we have to be diligent on all the cases. We can't just have a spree on one and leave them. I know the Anthony family needs our support, needs us to let the people know why it's important, keep the pressure, because we have a new judge assigned, but we have some updated information. Okay, because most of the places we live in become good old boy systems. You know what I'm saying? Good old boys.
And that's what we like to see. Ben Crump just announced that a powerhouse legal team has come together to represent Karmelo Antony pro bono. These are attorneys with backgrounds in civil rights, appeals, and criminal defense. And they are all coming together to review everything from the court case to start the appeal process to try to get something done about what happened to Karmelo Antony based on the trial. And on this powerhouse legal team is the president of Texas NAACP. Oh, we on it now. We on y'all head top now because we all sat here and watched this young black boy get railroaded during his trial. Their focus right now is not going to be on the details of the incident. They are going to be focusing on whether or not Karmelo Antony had a fair trial, and it could potentially lead to a new trial, to parts of the conviction being overturned, or a different sentence. It seems like their first move is to get through the appeal process to see what gets done through the appeal process, and if that's not enough, then they will revisit trying to have a new trial or whatever it is. I love to see it. I love to see it. They thought it was donezo for our boy Karmelo Antony.
Karmelo Anthony's new defense team filed a motion for a new trial, and I'm not a lawyer, but I read all 193 pages.
Go, girl.
So let me tell you the 4 reasons they say Karmelo deserves a new trial, and the evidence they say that backs up each of those reasons. So jumping right in with reason number 1, and that has to do with the 6th Amendment, which gives every person accused of a crime the right to a speedy trial and the right to a public trial. And in this situation, it's the public trial part that Karmelo's attorneys are saying was violated. Specifically, they're arguing that while the courtroom wasn't technically closed to the public, the restrictions the judge put in place made it function as if it were. According to the motion, only about 27 seats were available for members of the general public to sit in on the trial, and people were in line as early as 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning for a chance to get one of those seats. And then if you couldn't get one of those seats, initially the judge had an overflow room set up where you could still watch and listen to what was going on. But according to the defense, once jury selection ended, that overflow room was shut down.
Wow.
Which basically meant if you were not inside the courtroom, there was no way to hear or see what was going on.
Wow.
So Karmelo's attorneys say that's where the constitutional problem begins. Because according to them, before a judge can place restrictions that close a courtroom off to the public, the judge is supposed to follow what's called the Waller test. And the Waller test comes from a U.S. Supreme Court case that lays out 4 things that have to happen before a courtroom can be closed off to the public, particularly when a defendant is objecting. So the first prong of this test is whoever is asking for the closure has to show that there is an overriding interest that would likely be harmed if the courtroom were to stay open. So for example, if there was a need to protect a confidential informant or maybe a minor who's a victim, that would be an overriding interest that could make sense for the courtroom to be closed. And then the second prong is that any closure that is done has to be as limited as possible. So in other words, the judge isn't supposed to restrict more of the trial than is actually necessary.
So highlighting that it wasn't only restriction and bias because, they were allegedly sheriffs at the door that knew people, was making sure that people got in, according to other content creators. And this is why the Anthony's family, Mr. Carmelo, the Anthonys are asking for content creators to go out there, for everybody to have their eyes on what going on, because what happened before was a lot of bias and a lot of bullying going on, allegedly.
So if the concern is for one witness that is a confidential informant, only that person's testimony should be restricted, not the entire proceeding. And then the next prong says that the judge has to consider reasonable alternatives before limiting public access. So the judge is to consider things like moving to a larger courtroom, maintaining an overflow room, or using some other method that allows the public to observe the trial. And then the fourth prong of this Waller test is that the judge has to explain the decision on the record as to why he is closing the case. So that means the judge is supposed to explain what important interest is being protected and why this closure is necessary. They're also supposed to explain why any other options won't work for this and why the restriction they're choosing is not broader than necessary. Now, it's worth noting that when the judge for Carmelo's case entered the order limiting courtroom access, he actually cited the Waller test himself. In the order, he wrote that unrestricted public access could, quote, compromise courtroom security, juror privacy, and the defendant's right to a fair trial. But in the same order, he also promised reasonable public access consistent with constitutional requirements. And so that considered, the defense is arguing that despite the judge's promise that reasonable public access would be given, they say that's not what actually happened.
So basically, what becomes the evidence for that is that they closed the overflow room, if that's actually true, when they had it already active when the trial started. So, sounding a little good here. Okay, I like it.
The attorneys are saying the restrictions that were put in place for Carmelo's trial went way too far, and the public was effectively shut out once the testimony began. And because of this, they say Carmelo's Sixth Amendment right to a public trial was violated and he should be granted a new trial. Now, before you get to commenting and saying that doesn't seem like it's enough for him to get a new trial, let me tell you the case law that they are using to support their position. The first case they cite in their motion is Stricker versus Texas, where a woman named Jennifer Stricker was convicted of stealing somewhere between $150,000 to $300,000 from a man named Daniel Perez. Now, after Jennifer's trial, she appealed on the grounds that her right to a public trial was violated because the judge in her case denied letting one of her friends in during jury selection. In her case, the judge repeatedly said that he wasn't closing the courtroom, but because of the lack of space, he was denying the friend entry inside. So Jennifer appeals, and the Texas Court of Appeals said that if the courtroom wasn't really closed, why did the judge feel the need to keep saying that it wasn't closed? And they also ruled that the judge didn't properly apply the Waller test. Specifically, they said the judge didn't consider any reasonable alternatives for Stricker's friend or anyone else who may have wanted to observe the trial to be able to do so.
Now, this gives me some hope because I know that this judge, Roach, is not the smartest person, especially when he believes he has control over the courtroom and things like that. He probably slipped up and said a few things that was contraindicating, just like what she's presented in this case, okay?
And so in Jennifer's case, the appellate court ruled that her Sixth Amendment right was violated, and they granted her a new trial. And this connects to Carmelo's argument because his attorneys are saying, even though the judge in his case may have not intended to close the courtroom, by restricting how many people could actually get in and then shutting down that overflow room once witnesses began testifying, he essentially did close the courtroom.
Oh my God. Now, y'all guys, the reason why I'm saying that, because I was saying like, the next grounds for appeal is administrative errors and constitutional issues. And this is what they're going after. It's like they went through this with a fine-tooth comb. Okay, I like this.
They also argue that it's clear he didn't consider any reasonable alternatives because in an interview the judge gave after Carmelo's trial, he admitted that he could have considered using audio.
Do you think it reinforced your decision to not have cameras or streaming inside this?
Sort of. I'll say this, sometimes I think maybe I should have at least audio streamed or something so people could hear it. But at the end of the day, I don't think, no matter what, people are going to distort whatever happens or whatever they hear into their own agenda. And So what's the point?
You could have gave us the opportunity, because we would have knew on day 2 what we're showing tonight when y'all listen to the podcast and be aggravated that they was selling Carmelo to the wolves. Literally, was this guy a was it this guy a public defender? Because the way he behaved in this trial was like he was a public defender. Like literally, when you have the public defender, be ready to give yourself up. And my thing is, why would he push for them to take it to trial? Why? Allegedly, it was a deal for 10 years for Carmelo. Allegedly. Okay. I don't know where it's written. Hopefully, I can find it. But if it was, and I was his defense attorney, I would have said take the 10 years. Because even with involuntary manslaughter in certain states, you're getting high numbers. I.e., I know one of my family members who's doing 20 years for involuntary manslaughter, or I think is yeah, is murder. Sorry, in the first degree, and that's 20 years, 20 to 35. Yeah, 20 years. I'm thinking about that. Oh, we all know somebody, y'all. We all know somebody. So moving forward, what that goes to say, let's listen a little bit more how the judge slipped up Roach, but not only saying that he got it right, but now he admits that he may could have had it recorded, and you could have just let people distort whatever they were going to do, and you continue with the proceedings because you knew the jury that you chose. You guys probably already knew the sweetheart deal that you had. You guys probably knew each other. You probably, I'm saying probably to certain things because they haven't totally connect him to Carmelo's lawyer, but you know what happens.
And again, that always affects people, affects the fairness of the trial, the safety of the witnesses, the safety of the jury. And those are my primary concerns, not what social media says.
Nope. And as you guys know, during the YSL trial, we didn't see none of the jury. Did we? Oh, did they? Hold on. I think somebody did correct me. Did we see the jury in the YSL trial? I remember it was a content creator that got in trouble. Yeah, no, we didn't see the jury. They literally, the one of the content creators was like naming the jury by inanimate things like Miss Orange and things like that, and she got in trouble. The YSL trial was public. So this is BS. This is BS. Okay?
It's not my duty. I don't think it's my job to feed social media or the media. So I certainly understand the role that media plays in a case like this. I'm not here to feed it. And I take that very, very seriously.
The next case Carmelo's attorney cite in this motion is Hernandez versus Texas, where the Texas Court of Appeals granted a man named Mauricio Hernandez a new trial after a judge didn't allow 5 of Mauricio's friends and family in the courtroom during jury selection.
2 cases.
Because of a lack of space.
That's good.
For Mauricio's appeal, the appellate court ruled that this judge again didn't properly apply the Waller test, and specifically, the judge didn't consider reasonable alternatives for the friends and family to watch the jury selection. Okay, so I'm not a lawyer, which I've already told you, but there are some clear differences between Carmelo's case and these cases, but there also are some clear similarities. So I'm curious, for the lawyers and non-lawyers, based on what I presented, what do you think about the argument Carmelo's team is making that everyone has the right to a public trial, and that based on these other cases, Carmelo's right was violated? And before you comment something that is going to make me block you, I'm not asking you what your personal beliefs are on Carmelo or if you think he should or should not get more time. Okay, that's not the question. I'm asking you if, based on the case law they are presenting, if you believe Carmelo's case falls in line with that and his right to a public trial may have been violated.
I wish they can do affidavits of some of the people who were already there, who was there, and actually like say what they went through, during the trial, because some people went through some stuff. Her thing is a little long. Let's move forward. Let's get to Karmelo Antony. And guys, next time I'm going to be better. I'm going to have all the content creators' names as I download, okay? But I was just trying to get it moving, okay? So let's listen to this as we cook on the judge, and then we're going to get into the prosecutor getting called out as well for allegedly being a pedo? No, something that we don't like, we not supposed to like in America, but people get away with. Okay, yeah.
and asking why a case this big was kept so closed off from the public. Then there's the question that everyone wanted answered. Did the judge have a personal relationship with the victim's family? Roach flatly denied it, saying he wouldn't even recognize the victim's father if he walked up and said hello. When asked if the jury got it right, the judge said yes, insisting they were picked based on the law and listened only to the facts presented in that courtroom. And here's the line that's setting the internet on fire. Roach said as long as he follows the law, he sleeps well at night. He says it isn't his job to feed social media or the media. This will be his last major murder trial.
Secret Service Sam here for the Karmelo Antony trial update, and people are talking about Judge Roach is retiring. Now, he was a judge starting in 2007, but he is now retiring. Now, people think it's because allegedly he is scared that he is going to get disbarred, because a lot of people are saying that this whole Karmelo Antony trial was a bust, that he wanted to get out, he wanted to make sure he had a conviction so he could retire. But people are saying that he could be disbarred as a judge, and that once the truth comes out about this case, because look, they're not letting people view the video. His own attorneys seem to have sabotaged his case. The defense, the all-white jury, people are very suspicious of what happened in this case, as we've been reporting.
Let's stop right here because I want to put this on the screen real quick. I would love to highlight this. I appreciate you guys being in the audience. But it says, my gentleman says he's guilty. He brought a knife to a school function. What about, let's just put myself, I want to go a little bit bigger. What about Chud the Builder? What about your favorite guy, Chud the Builder, who literally missed his court date, didn't go to court, but stood outside in front of the court with a gun, started a fight, shot himself, shot somebody else, attempted murder. What about that? He brung a gun to the front of the courthouse. Let's start with that before we start saying things over and over that's stupid. Okay? Because the gun is worse than someone holding a pocket knife because it's actually legal. You don't need a license and it's not an age restriction. So, guys, continue to make your comments, but make it make sense and let it not be filled with stupidness and hate. We get a lot of those over here, but I'm trying to build you up just a little bit so you can have some critical thinking skills because, again, what they do to us and other nations and you, because a lot of you died once you don't agree with the system norm. Charlie Kirk, allegedly. Allegedly. We're going to move forward. Hit them where it hurts. Okay? Let's go.
People are saying,
but we will talk about the use of force that's in proportion. I'll keep that 100. We'll talk about that. Okay? But yeah, I'm just saying, don't be biased because I could bring up other examples that just happened.
he didn't allow
Rest in peace of Charlie Kirk. Okay? Yeah, right.
the proper evidence to be submitted. A lot of the witnesses were just friends of the other side. So it's all very suspicious. Karmelo never took the stand. They didn't allow the video that some people saw to be evidence inside the courtroom. They only showed a blurry video. What do you guys think? I will keep you updated on this. Do you think Karmelo got a fair trial? Listen, I will be here to expose the truth behind the headlines on the front lines.
So the other thing that I want to bring up is the consistency of the subliminal program, like what I mentioned to you guys. Bring a knife to attract me, those things. But no one is actually paying attention to the surrounding circumstances. What led to this? This is very important because when it comes to police excessive force cases, the Supreme Court has found that not only that they just can't shoot somebody is this legal, but when they're looking at the case, instead of looking at just how the cop felt, they have to look at the totality of what the circumstances was and what the average person will do. And a lot of different circumstances is not being considered by the counterparts. It's just the guy in the comments said it's not the same. What about Rottenhouse? He brung like a big gun to a protest against opposition opinions, but you support it. That's what I'm saying here. Like, we trying to wake people consciously up. Okay, Esau. Like, we got to think about this. Like, some, like I said, I'm going to mention it in every live when we're talking about these things that can be stemmed in race base. You're not representing your nation correctly if you're on the wrong side of history, just saying things that just doesn't make sense, that you're contradicting yourself, you're not holding everybody at the same bar. We will all be judged equally. This is all I'm saying. We have to make it make sense. So the most important thing tonight is that we're showing that in the Carmelo Anthony case, it was a tragedy. Not just he wasn't supposed to bring a knife there or whatever because it's not illegal, but it's the sentencing. It was the approach. It's the totality of it looking like it was a setup. Okay? Even though the average person who knows law would have said, yo, take the plea bargain 10 years. You said you were guilty. Things like that. So let's work it out like this. This seemed to be orchestrated, again, like a psyops, meaning they push certain agendas at a certain time. So people like me, Brown, will be so wrapped up, because that's what we are, and we have to be, of our nation, of our young kids, of our babies, of our people being killed, that we can't even pay attention to what's going on the national level around just the whole United States. Keep thinking that you guys who show hate don't need the black community. This is why when started hitting the fan, you kept saying, black people, come protest, come protest. And when you saw he wasn't moving, because we like, nah, you chose this. This is your destiny. But you called us for a reason, because there's an essence behind us. But what they're trying to do is have us be separate. The perception of not being equal, because all of us at the bottom is equal, bitch. Only the ones that could do and say what Trump want them to say right now is considered free until he have a brain fart and he turn on them. Let's be realistic about the why behind this. This is why when you see me show clips, I'm showing all types of people. I need truth and facts. I need facts, because if you keep on dealing with the emotional nonsense, you're going to be filling your cup up with iniquity, hate. Who wants to wake up with all of the propaganda? This is why I do my live the way I do. I have to go on my tangent, because a lot of just keep throwing nonsense or just throwing whatever come is tugging on our mind, our soul, our well-being, our health. It's stopping us from doing what we're supposed to do right now as human beings. Does that make sense? Okay, because I gotta touch some people's hearts that doesn't have it, because you know what Woo Breezy said. Shout out to my Zoes, what she read. Are Caucasian Americans soulless? Is that what you're proving? Let's get back to the law and the facts here. Okay? Let's go.
Think Judge Roach is sus? Let me know in the comments. Secret Service
Sus. Shout out to Secret Service Sam, okay? I like him.
The judge in the Karmelo Antony case will be removed from the bench. He will be no longer a judge. This judge knew that there were red flags and did not allow evidence submitted that would have exonerated Karmelo Antony. This judge kept evidence from being submitted, which is unlawful conduct, knowing
Wait, stop. This guy right here said, wait. He said, we are not like, I'm sorry. We got to talk about this, guys, because I got my people talking. Lilo, you said we are not more soulless than anybody else. Thank you for even saying that, because I just touched your heart a little bit, because you had to think about it. But comparing the history, you're going to have to rephrase that. Because if it's about a cup of iniquity and we all like measuring it, burn Babylon, burn. Let's move forward. But I appreciate it, because that was like, oh, Mama Grace could touch your heart. I'm trying to save your soul. You got to think about it just a little bit. Not worse than everybody else. Stop it. That's like a kid getting in trouble. He did it too. We're talking about your humanity. Okay? Let's bring it up a little bit. I appreciate you though, soft tell. I appreciate you.
Let alone the fact that the judge did not raise red flags in such a high racially profile case when he was aware that it was an all-white jury.
He should have knew that. He should have knew that they would have had grounds to try to fight on that in itself, just because of the situation. Okay. Highlighting the way the media was already addressing it, things like that. There's certain ways that the judge can set up the case to, keep things in order, i.e., I'm gonna have to go back into the YSL judge. He keep it in order, but he tried it, but he set up his court like, I will do it like this, and this is what we're gonna do. Now let's just get into a little bit more about Judge Roach, just the last video about him, and then about the prosecutor allegedly. Okay, and then we're going to get into a little bit of the evidence. I think we're going to get into the brother's interview and then a little bit more of the evidence. Okay, and the suspect about Matt Austin's brother, he was sus. He was sus.
He gets excited. Not here deciding whether Karmelo Antony is innocent or not, or if he gets a new trial. The only job right now is to decide.
Hold on.
Of defense.
See if I can go.
Of defense. God loves you. I love you.
Love you too, brother.
The judge.
Well, I've heard a lot that said there were no blacks on the jury, and I believe that fact is true. But it was a very diverse jury and other cultures and other races and stuff. And so I really didn't pay attention to it really because I thought the job, right, is to manufacture some look of the jury or the makeup of the jury. But I thought it was a good cross section of Collin County.
Well, a jury of your peers. I mean, Karmelo is black. You could have let one saw that it was going to be a bias. I'm just saying. And then we have to keep in consideration the statistics of the area as well. The diversity of how many black people versus white, and that's how they could calculate the chances of it being a black person on the jury. But he should have made it his business to be aware that it would have appeared biased. But we're going to move forward.
And again, they did their job. I think they took their oath very seriously, no matter what their background was.
That's like having a Caucasian guy murder a black guy, and then we have an all black jury. Y'all gonna not like that. He going down. He going down, especially in these times. But no, I'm being honest. Y'all wouldn't like that. That's weird. It's weird. Moving forward, I think this is the last clip before we get into the other stuff.
Case. A new judge by the name of Sid Harrell has been assigned.
So this is about the new judge. Dun 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 dun. Do we got a chance, y'all? Do we got a chance? That's why I say it's important to push our kids, push ourselves to do particular jobs and get into certain fields that we can start having some control, because we got too much of this going on. Because the hoods that came off and they have went into corporate and other sectors. Okay? Yeah.
For anybody gets excited, not here deciding whether Karmelo Antony is innocent or not, or if he gets a new trial. The only job right now is to decide whether Judge John Roach should be removed from Karmelo Antony's post-trial proceedings. Yeah, we're still there. We all know why the defense wants Judge John Roach off this case. They argue that Judge John Roach created an appearance of bias after publicly defending his courtroom decisions and saying he believed the jury reached a correct verdict after Karmelo Antony was convicted. Karmelo Antony's defense team filed two motions, one for a new trial and the other one to get Judge John Roach ass out the way. Now, Judge Harrell agrees to remove Roach, then a different judge will take over the post-trial proceedings.
But who is Judge Harrell?
Karmelo Antony can get a new trial or not. So to be clear, this isn't a decision on Karmelo Antony getting a new trial or him being innocent. This is just about Judge John Roach, who refuses to step aside even though his ass is retiring in December. He really just needs to step aside. Y'all know why he wants to stay there, and that's to keep Karmelo Antony behind bars. We got a damn freak!
So this is... We got a damn freak! Oh, excuse me, y'all. This is allegedly about the prosecutor. I respect. It just got turned up real quick.
The DA, did you know that there is a 75-page sexual harassment of the DA that was saying that Karmelo Antony is a murderer. But you need to be a
All right, so I'm here with Dr. Candace Matthews.
Shout out to Miss Matthew out there, Dr. Candace Matthew out there kicking butt. I've been watching a few of her videos. Once you click like, they just be covered in. She be on it, doing her own thing. I appreciate. Oh, and I want to send the love and blessings to all the content creators, all of the audience members, everybody who's keeping your eye on these cases. We all play a part. Your thoughts, your heart, your visions. Even if you're against it, it's okay. You know, as we continue to talk about things, maybe you'll open up to even understanding the other side, so we can have these difficult conversations. So shout out to all the different activists. It's not just content creators, because it's not easy for us to present these things. Okay. Shout out to Nolan Wells, the 2 interviews today before I let her play. Literally, I was watching one and I'm yelling at it. Okay. I said, yeah, we're not doing this today. So we will be coming up with, I think, a part 5 on a Nolan Wells deep dive. We're going to go over it in a few days or so turn your notifications on. But that goes to say that this is not easy to come up here and just talk like everything's regular, go through this stuff. It's really not. So I appreciate, I know I do, as a brown melanated woman here, a woman of God, to be able to help push a message that is going to unite, bring justice, bring truth. Okay? Because we're working with the armor, the body of Christ. You already know, the belt of truth. So let's go. She said we got a pedo. No, she didn't say pedo. What'd she say?
We just finished the press conference.
Let's look at it again.
He gets excited. Now here's the
Hold up. Let's listen to her one more
And
time.
really just needs to step aside. Y'all know why he wants to stay there. And that's it.
Oh.
Really just needs
This
to
don't
step
have a
aside.
skip right.
Y'all know why he wants to stay there. And that's to keep Karmelo Antony behind bars. We got a damn freak.
We got a damn freak.
That there is a 75-page federal lawsuit
Mm.
for sexual harassment of the DA that
Whoop.
was saying that Karmelo Antony is a murderer. But you need to be a representative. So I'm going to show you how to discuss this.
All right, so I'm here with Dr.
Mm,
Candace Matthews.
Shout out to Ms. Matthew. We're going to stop right here. That was my set of TikTok clips. Now what we're going to do is get into the Metcalf brothers interview. Okay. This is the first one. And the reason why it's important for us to revisit, because anybody who watched this sees something going on here, that he's holding back, that is more that he needs to say. And I would have hoped that he would have actually got on a stand, but because he couldn't hold himself, just like what we're going to see in the second interview, this is the reason why these lawyers got together and was like, nope, we ain't gonna put him on a test. We're not gonna let him testify. We ain't gonna let Karmelo testify. It wasn't just those 2 issues. They're not talking about the cell phone and talk about the history. It was about who was going to testify and who wasn't, and the why behind it. Let's watch this.
Oh, man. I'm so sorry for your loss. Thank you. I'm so sorry. He's a good kid. We just got a little altercation, and that's really it. But
we just had a little altercation. That's really it. His guilt was shining through so much, guys. I'm just keeping it real. Like, this guy, he has to be messed up in his heart, because from kind of what I'm getting, he had maybe been the first to interact, and then his brother followed through. And I think when we go over to Nolan Wells, just to reflect, I believe that Wyatt, my baby Wyatt, oh my goodness, my baby Wyatt gonna have a heart attack before anything. I think guilt is eating Wyatt up. I'm talking about it before the next live, watching what's going on. If anybody crack, Wyatt is gonna crack. But that is the same right here. The grief. He
has a good heart. Everyone knows around here knows he's a great kid. He just one mistake from that dude, and this.
What did he say? It was a little altercation and one mistake. Who made the mistake? Because he was not talking about Karmelo.
My brother just has a good heart. Everyone knows. Good kid. We just got a little altercation, and that's really it. But he has a good heart. Everyone knows. Everyone around here knows he's a great kid. He just one mistake from that dude, and just took my brother. Just he didn't deserve it. No one deserves a loss from a family like that. I know people that lose their family members all the time, but I just didn't know it was gonna be mine so soon. My best friend and my brother my whole life, but if y'all could just like, not y'all, sorry, just like thank y'all for just comforting us in like the Frisco area has been comforting my family and me. And I just really appreciate everything that everyone's done. It's a really hard loss, but we're gonna get through it with my family. So we'll just stay together. I mean, our relationship is really the tightest I've ever seen in somebody, like between two human beings. I mean, we did everything together, clean the dishes together, do the yard work together, sports, you name anything in the world, it's always us two and one thing. So you're always just basically one person.
Were you guys just a few minutes apart?
4 minutes.
Austin was first by 4 minutes. He got stuck in me.
So technically your bigger brother.
Yes, ma'am. He does a lot of big brother stuff around.
Come on, listen.
He's always on my back. Even if I'm in the wrong, he'll always take my side no matter what. It's just really heartbreaking to see someone that.
Even when I'm in the wrong, he has my back no matter what. This is a hell of guilty conscience. This is what people say in the beginning. That's why I said it's so important in any case that we're listening to, watching, going over evidence, reviewing what was said at first. That's first what was said, not as they got time to relax, start thinking about it. Everybody get a consensus of the mind. There are things going on online right here. Even when I was being bad, he had my back, just rolling off his tongue. Allegedly, he was the initiator, and his brother came in and swooped in and just kept it going.
Cares for you that much and does everything, even by your side, no matter what, just pass away like that.
Remember, what I show you later on is 7 minutes. Y'all have to imagine what Karmelo went through for 7 minutes, going back and forth with these boys and their friends. He's sitting down, and you're going to see them surrounding him for 7 minutes. Now, step out of color. Everybody's purple. And I can remember being in high school, it getting into fights. And the anticipation between what's going on, the situation, sometimes I felt like my life was in danger. You know what I'm saying? And I just had to handle what I needed to. But being in certain situations where it was happening over time, like I'm going to give you an example, it's not the same, but I've been in some fights. These girls wanted to fight me. Okay, so I had to go to work too. I was going to McDonald's, rather have my McDonald's outfit on. So when they was like, "Oh, somebody want to fight you," or whatever, I was walking. I was like, "Oh, all right, whatever." And my bus wasn't coming. And I'm telling you, the anticipation. This is not a joke. Real life story. Y'all know y'all done had it. So that's why I say think out of the box and think about everybody's perspective too. The anticipation on everybody's side. That's why he feel guilty, because there's a whole 7 minutes, or I'm gonna give or take 5 to 7 minutes of some interaction that could have been stopped. That we're going to show you, because on the opposite side of the field, you had like some adults looking straight across. I don't know if they not seeing a group of people standing, but then on part of the evidence, we're going to show you these people are straight across, whoever these people are. So they had to see something starting to happen. Me, myself, being vigilant, I had did EMT a little bit. If I see anything happen on the field, I'm going there. But back to the fight. Basically, what ended up happening, I went into the bodega just because I got lost track of mine. And I had to wait for my bus. And everybody started around the store. Yo, I had to come out. I had to fight. You know how much anticipation and whatever I was going through? You think if I didn't have a little poker, that I wouldn't have my poker in my hand? That day, I didn't have nothing. Fighting for my life. But I can think back that, damn, if I had a poker, he was going to get it, because I had to fight a few. But I'm just saying, I take myself out of just looking at it from outside and kind of reevaluate it. The anticipation of something happening between those few minutes, I think, was heightening for all of them. And that's why he's guilty. That's why he feel guilty like this.
Your mom told me that you were there.
Yes, ma'am.
If you don't mind, what happened?
There was this kid, before I knew his name now, this kid was sitting under our tent at track. We asked him to move. He started getting aggressive and talking reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, "You need to move." And he's like, "Make me move." Austin grabbed his backpack. The kid, I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see the stab. But then I look at my brother, and then I'm not going to talk about the rest. So that's just what I saw.
Yeah. What are you not going to talk about? The rest. What actually happened for the 7 minutes? This is something that was not highlighted. It was a good time frame of something happening, and I'll show you. I'm going to show y'all the proof, the evidence on the video they got.
And I tried to help him, but
it was just senseless.
Try to do what?
It was really senseless.
Try to do what? Nothing. You turned around while your brother took the wheel allegedly and pushed Karmelo. We're gonna show you that video. Then Karmelo said, "Do it again." He stuck his hand in his bag, and his brother slipped on the side of him, sat down, and then pushed Karmelo again. That's what I see in the zoom in that I showed y'all earlier, and I'm gonna show it to you again. So I have to admit that it wasn't a one gesture that I thought from Karmelo where it was just up and it was like a push and ran. That's what I think, what I saw. And I'm going to show you guys.
I don't know why a person would do that to someone just over that little argument. It's just crazy in this world nowadays how people just up and do that. Like, that man has a family, that man has people that care about them all the time. And
that man, what is wrong with our youth? What is he talking about? He's talking about his brother. I'm sorry, such a disconnection. I'm sorry.
He did everything for our family too. He was a strong man. He was a strong kid. He was strong. And I know I'm strong too, but he's a little stronger. But
I'm strong, and he looking like Chubsy Wubsy over here, but his brother's stronger. And that's what we discovered of you didn't discover. I discovered the brother was 85 pounds bigger than Karmelo. 85 pounds. The body of an 8-year-old. I have to say it. 85 pounds. So I just kind of described the time of the tension of minutes that nobody paid attention to, and his defense attorney didn't bother to show. As I showed you the evidence packet, this is why people are calling for it. We need some justice. This is out of pocket.
He did a lot for our family and a bunch of stuff that we just don't recognize. And it's just like, especially throughout our friends too, like everyone knew, like he was the peacemaker. That's what I'm saying. Like, heard someone who really makes peace, really calms peace down. He makes everything sail smoothly. Because I get upset, but then he calms me down. He was just always there for me. So it's just really heartbreaking to see like how this happened.
So allegedly, from what this is alleged, social media was saying that he's more of the aggressive one, and Austin was the favorite. Didn't get much trouble. Kind of was like the diffuser, but he wasn't the angel. He wasn't the do-gooder. Like, I'm a goody-goody. Y'all keep hearing me. Oh, they fighting. Oh, they fighting. They should be fighting. That's a goody-goody who keep like, that's a problem. I don't think these people thought it was a problem to fight. So that's a misstatement.
Oh my goodness. You guys are
17.
17.
Yeah, they'll be 18 in July.
I saw a lot of articles say you guys were 16. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, they're 17.
Yes, ma'am.
Junior?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Austin wanted to play football.
He would have played college football.
He would have.
For sure. He definitely used his mindset, his skill level, his IQ. The game was probably the best I've seen in the Frisco area.
Yeah.
As a linebacker, he was a stud, and I always try to fill those shoes with him and play with him. And I had a blast my whole life playing sports with him. My whole life, it was just me and him always get against people. And our last year together was this year, so it's just really heartbreaking not to see him next year.
I know that he won like linebacker of the year
for the.
Just a great guy overall to be
I want him to talk about what happened
around. And
but what would you say about the suspect and what's next?
We don't know anything about him. We have nothing to say.
I've never met this kid until right then. It really was under 30 seconds, this altercation. I've never met this kid in my entire.
So right there, remember that testimony. That's not his testimony. His words on a public platform. 30 seconds. The lies that be. Let's see if I can replace it, and let's put up some of this evidence that I keep talking about real quick, because baby, if you're lying, you're flying. Hold on one second. I want to see if it's gonna let me Give me 1 second. Would it let me go? Oh, did I pull out? Give me 1 second, guys. I want to show the video of the evidence. Is this one?
Karmelo Anthony's lead
No.
attorney claimed a broken handshake.
Hold on. That's not it. Give me 1 second. That's the Zoom video. Let's play this real quick while I'm looking at for the Zoom video. Y'all watch this. This is the Zoom. This is the video that I zoomed in 2 minutes of that 7 minutes. Like I did the first 1 minute and then I did the last 1 minute. So y'all watch this real quick while I hunt for the other video real quick of the bigger version. This is a silent movie. Now y'all keep watching. Y'all gonna see in this particular video. Look at the screen. You see how open it is? Now this Karmelo is here. He's already in the middle. Now between the time from the beginning to what you're gonna see kind of like a flip. You're gonna see where's more people gonna be standing around, and it's gonna get crowded around here. So just keep your eyes on the prize, okay? While I try to find the rest of what I need. Let's take this down. Day 2. Is this the Northeast Stadium? Let me make sure is that what the one I want to show you. No, I want to, let's see. Okay, this is what we're looking at. I'm going to pull this up, let this come up on the screen. I'm going to show you what we're looking at. Now, is this still playing? We're getting to the 2.5 minute mark. You're going to see basically the crowd get thicker. Okay. I got the other video up. You're going to see in a few seconds, you're going to see Karmelo basically get up and run, and then you're going to see the full video of this right now. This is the clearest anybody probably saw it. I know y'all getting the good version on the long form. Look how it get. Now this right here, you see the crowd gets thick. This is where it changed. I got towards the end of the video. The crowd is thick. If y'all watching on long form, you're going to see the gentleman push Karmelo. And this is the first push or the second push? No, that was the second push. There go the second push. So let's just go back one time. There we go. Now this is the first push. You see the first push? He pushed him back. And that's the second push. Hold on. Let's get to the first push. Hold on. We ain't going back that far. Let's watch this. This is a close-up. The guys who's on long form, you guys can see this nice and clear. Now you see somebody come up, approach some people more. Karmelo and them are there. Something is going on. It's an altercation. And that's what the people who saw this video close said. Push. You see the first push? You see this arm? That's the first push. Then you see him slide over. You see the slide over right there. And this is where the second push coming at. Push. And you're going to see Karmelo quickly get up. So it's like a push and a jab. Now, since I have it on big screen, let's place it. Guys, this is what we seen. This is what they did not show the jurors. possibly how long, or even explain to the juror the possibility of a longer event happening. Does that make sense? Let's see. Let's put this up here. Now, this is what they seeing. Now, y'all see this video right here? Hold on, let me fix it in long form. Make sure y'all can see y'all can see it good in long form. Right here, this is around the time where I was trying to show y'all the other day of rain, of what was happening in the middle of the field with that canopy. You see a bunch of people under this one canopy. Just look at that. Let's play for 1 second. I want you to see the amount of rain that's coming down. This is the camera. You see the amount of rain? Now let's just rewind this, because at the beginning of this evidence, this is the Northeast Stadium. This is where we see Anthony, not Karmelo. We see a Metcalf and his brother come in with his group of friends. And we're going to be able to see who they are when you see them walk by with blue. Okay? Can y'all see it? That's one. And we keep our eye on the guy with the blue. So at least 4 or 5 of them. And then that's the second twin that come in with one guy. So I think this was significant because they were showing this, and then you're going to see them go to the other clip. So I think they were showing them entering, and here we go. They switched the camera. This is another view. And we got these separate views of when things start taking off. There go the boys. Let's press pause. Now, y'all see them by the tree now? You need me to go back? That's them coming in. That's them being there. This video, literally, this video right here is the evidence of 14 minutes. 14 minutes. You see the brothers coming in. You see the blue? Tell me, am I lying? You see the blue? You see the red book bag? You see the twin? Am I lying? This is at 38 seconds. That's what I said. Between 40 seconds and 7 minutes, something happened a lot. Y'all know Baba Grace, like something happened. Just like with Nolan Wells, between 3:30 and 4 o'clock, something happened that we need to fill in the gaps, because obviously someone is trying not to. So watch this. This is them disappearing and going over. As the narrative has been confirmed, Karmelo was under the tent already. About time these boys approached. Okay? We still see them going. You see the rain? You see how much rain it is? Now, at first, I was like, okay, they were skidding and skedaddling, trying to get in to get towards Karmelo at first. I said, no, but it's actually raining. So they skidding and skedaddling, and we have a whole bunch of kids that's under a tent that belongs to the school, obstructing the pathway, and nobody's telling them to move. But everybody told Karmelo to move. That's what I'm saying. What's the totality of the situation? If it was a social norm, people can't be under other people's tent, or you at least this is a fire hazard. Which one is more important to address? As the leader, Austin Metcalf, who is supposed to be the leader of the day, let all these people just be right there. Just say no. If you're supposed to be the leader, you're supposed to say, hey, y'all got to find another place to go. You can't be under here, or let it be room for people to walk through. If you was Mr. so worried about the tent and being the tent police, this is real. Okay. Welcome to Lady Grace, Miss Grace. This is how I look at things. I'm like, okay, it's a little bit more to this. Now, I wish I was the defense attorney, because he go ahead, move forward. So again, we're at 1 minute. You see them still walking. These are the boys. Pause. These are the boys under the tree. Now, I want you guys to see. We're going to go from 1 minute. I'm going to skip through. I'm skipping through. I'm going to go all the way to 7 minutes. And when you get to 7 minutes, it's 6 minutes, 45 seconds. You're going to see a bunch of people run. Hold up. This 6 minutes and 17 seconds. Let's watch. So all this time, we ain't going to rewatch this. We can. You want to see me cook and just watch it and you see nothing happen? The rain slowed down a little bit. You see the rain slow down from the beginning still shots. Okay, I mean, well, the beginning active shots. So let's watch this. Nothing's going on. That 10 is clear because the rain subsided. But nobody, to what I saw in this video, and this video is public information, went over and said, move, get away from here. This is blocking the walkway. Okay. Now we're going to be getting up to the 7-minute mark, and you're going to see Karmelo come with the gray. He like speed walking. Like, yo, he got up like that dude fast. If anything, he had to be a quarterback. Was he a quarterback? The people who they just don't touch because and they could just run because he had it. So it's coming up now, and I think we see the gray jumping up. The gray jumped up from under the tree. And now you're gonna start seeing him come through the crowd. He's gonna ease his way through the crowd. Where we at? 7:17. Seven minutes, 17 seconds. People still walking normal. It's coming. I want you to understand the longevity of this situation. 30 seconds, his brother is lying. We're still at 7 minutes and 39 seconds, and we haven't seen Karmelo come by yet. I thought it was 7 minutes on the dot. Come on, you coming, Karmelo. 8 minutes. We're at that 8-minute point. And we're still monitoring from there he go. Is that him coming off the bleachers or somebody else? There he go. You see Karmelo, the little thing, and you're going to see him ease out. So about 8 minutes, 12 seconds of interaction, about 7 minutes of interaction happened, and nobody is giving a clear testimony of that. Wait, he's coming into the picture right now. There he go. Trying to find his way out. This is him back there. He tried to go one way, but then couldn't make it. And this is him coming. I'm going to tell you when he hit the tree. The tree. This is Karmelo jogging, then start walking. You see, stop. You see the crowd of kids start running over towards that way because somebody said he stabbed Karmelo right here. And then you're going to see a crowd of people start coming towards Karmelo. This is 8 minutes and 36 seconds into this video. The defense could have filled in so much of anticipation or reasonable doubt of what happened in that 7 minutes, but he did not. Look at Karmelo, and then we're going to move forward because a lot of it is just a whole bunch of look at this is Karmelo, and this is when him coming after him, pointing after him. You see him pointing after him. Y'all can see it clear, right? I have it on long form. Long form could see it. There go Karmelo. Okay. And then he goes on the field. This is when the coach grabs him. This is the evidence. So, can somebody tell me what happened in 7 minutes to just say that Karmelo was the aggressor the whole time when we actually going to look now? Let's see something. I'm going to look from, let's see, we're going to look from another perspective. And this is where I'm going to show you guys that there were actually, is this it? Okay, this is not it. It was actually adults across from everything happening, and nobody said nothing. Bad behavior. I'll be grabbing kids up. I'll be like, no, I don't. I'll be like, now, you know you're not supposed to do that. Okay, yes, I am funny like that. Give me 1 second. Now we're gonna put the next video up there. Yes, I am. Kids don't be misbehaving around Mama Grace. I'm not here to play. Y'all gonna get it together, get on the face. Now this is the other angle. Now this is where I took the shot from. Can y'all see where I did the zoom in? Hold on, let me get y'all like no, because you got your big head on the screen. Hold on, let's switch it up just a little bit. Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to see. Can I switch some? Switch. There we go. This is the opposite side of the field. Where you see me take the picture, well, did the zoom with the screen, the zoom is was right here. And that's where you got to see it a little closer. All right, peep this. They start with the same, look at the time frame, 18 minutes. So this is showing there, and I showed you guys. But peep this. I want y'all to look at this. This is what I say. People be watching bad stuff and don't pay attention. What the hell do we got mindful adults for? Look, we moving now. Stuff is over here. This is all part of the 7 minutes. I'm at 4 over here. If y'all can see, because I can't zoom it here. It's clear. It's clear. We get to right here. 7 minutes and 5 seconds. Tell me what you guys see. Was my hand in the camera? Hold on. Tell me what you guys see. I know y'all can't see too much here, but what do y'all see right in the middle of the damn screen, looking across the field? What do we see in the middle of this? What is the procedure? In my set it off voice. What are the mindful adults here doing? They're watching. Let's watch it. They was watching for a while. I was like, damn, look at these people. They right here. These are adults. They looking straight across. I'm not saying they watching it, but you see a crowd of kids, like, and it start to swell up. I want to see, can I zoom a little bit? Video? No. Contract. Let me see something. Can I zoom just a little bit? I don't know if it'll let me, but baby, I can show you. If y'all go zoom in on y'all computer, on y'all screen, y'all see what's going on here. We're at 7 minutes and 42 seconds. And when Carmelo start running, it's actually 8 minutes and 23 seconds. So let's get to that point, see what the people on the screen are doing, and then we're going to get back to the other interview of his brother, the latest one, and how his tone changed and how his brother kept looking at his mother. We're at 8 minutes and 7 seconds. The crowd is thick. Zoom in, see the difference. I know y'all can't see it right now, but you guys can go look yourself. This is a pretty clear video. Okay? The crowd gets thicker. They're standing. My man over here with the white shirt and the black shorts with the stripe got his hand crossed. You ain't watching. There's something going on over there. Now, when I kept saying control chaos, I thought it was just a whole world of events. Somebody running on there, somebody doing something here, like a whole bunch of things going on at the same time. Hold on, let's watch. It just don't look as chaotic as they may seem. It should be designated people all over, but I'm not. I'm gonna stop being geeky. 8 minutes and 21 seconds. Look at them, and you're gonna see Carmelo in a little corner jump up and run. They looking straight across. My man right here with the hoodie and his feet spread across, looking straight across. One, you see my other guy got his feet on the bench. He's looking right over. What are they looking at? I mean, these are the things I pay attention to. Those main three right there was looking straight across. And my man with the umbrella. How long he been standing there, y'all? They watching something. We at 8 minutes and 35 seconds, and I think we're about to see Carmelo run. This is the video that I had just showed you guys. All right. So that was enough of me cooking on that real quick. I think I showed you enough of the. Oh, there you go. That's when everybody start running. Jesus Christ. They go to fight. They go to tussle. Carmelo jump up and he runs. All right. So the main thing I want to show you, we're 11 minutes into this clip. I was given to take seven minutes from the other clip that altercation happened. So you guys gonna tell me that basically it's Carmelo Anthony fault for wanting to sit under these bleachers that he's been near before they showed up, and he should have listened and went out in the rain, obviously highlighting that due to testimony, it is not track culture to not talk to the other team and people meet people. It's actually track culture to do that. People have said that allegedly they met their best friends from other teams, at track meets. So that narrative in itself is stupid. And as adults, we should not say that. He shouldn't have been there. There's a lot of places people do not belong, but do they deserve to be accosted? Did Metcalf deserve to die? No. That's why I do believe that Karmelo should have gotten manslaughter, not first degree, because it was done in the heat of passion. And we'll go back over that, the difference between first degree and manslaughter, the application of the sentencing. That's why at first I thought they should appeal the sentencing, but the way things went down in the trial, when y'all listen to the podcast, because the last 45 minutes is going to be podcast form. I'm going to get myself off the screen and you guys are going to listen to AI break down the case. And then on the second part of it, like 20 minutes towards the end, you're going to hear them debate. And as I told you, me knowing what I know and how I feel with the history of America, what I know with law, it was hard for me to listen, but it is two unbiased people going against each other. And I think it's good for us to listen because it builds up our muscles. Like, you see what I'm saying? Not only critical think from another person's perspective, but once we hear things that we're not comfortable with, we kind of stop being so damn emotional. Okay, guys? Like, do I got to be the man here? I'm sorry. Let's play it. Do I got to be the man here? Everybody doing too much emotional stuff. But we do need that fire, though. I will give it to y'all. So keep on pushing.
Gut-wrenching, incomprehensible scene in Frisco, Texas, just 20 miles north of where I sit here today. A high school track meet yesterday turned deadly. 17-year-old football star Austin Metcalf was stabbed in today, and
we're going to listen to his twin brother talk, and you're going to see the weird stuff. You know what I'm saying? Where mom tried to shut him up and a whole bunch of nonsense. And like I said, after you get a sentence of 35 years, you should just be all right. But like somebody said in my last live, he had a gag order there. He just had to get it off his chest. Watermelon felon. Right.
I have to start with how sorry I am of what you're going through this morning, this afternoon. I think I'd like to just start. I'd love to just start with tell me about Hunter. If you could, Megan, tell me about your son.
I think I can speak for her for a little bit, see if she just calms down just a little bit. But as for me, I know I'm a little more, spontaneous. I like to do stuff all around and just get out of line sometimes. And,
I like to be spontaneous and do stuff all the time and get out of line and get a little bit out of line. Did you hear what he's saying?
Austin's always was there to check on me and keep me straight so I wouldn't be in trouble and do anything like that.
Hunter and Megan, whenever you feel ready, jump into the conversation. If you never feel ready, that's completely understandable.
7 minutes of getting out of line. Something was happening, guys.
To me and everybody else watching. Hunter, thanks so much for being able to do this today. Just a little more about your brother, Austin. From what I understand, I think he has it in his social media bio, 3.96 GPA student, certainly definitely into football.
I want to talk about that today.
Can you explain us at all today how you feel? It's just got to be so, the word I keep coming back to, Megan, is incomprehensible. How could this happen at a track meet?
It is. He just took my son is gone, and I have.
And that's the same sympathy that y'all need to be having for Nolan Wells' mother and everybody else, okay? When they baby gone, I'm just gotta remind y'all. Same sympathy.
I don't really have words. I've tried to figure out what I was gonna say, but he's just gonna be so.
Again, I was at a track meet, by the way, on Tuesday.
Oh my
this
God.
Is not something you think could ever happen. How did it happen?
So it was a really bad storm in the morning, and they had a lot of delays. And me, my brother, a couple of kids were walking back from the field house of the middle school because we attended that middle school when we went to middle school, and we were saying hello to old coaches and catching up with them. middle school because we attended that middle school when we went to middle school, and we were saying hello to old coaches and catching up with them. And then we're walking back to our stand. We put our tent up so all the bleachers were right there. We're not wet from all the rain. We come back, we sit down, and this kid said something behind me. I've never met this kid in my entire life. I never knew who he was. Said something just inappropriate and
So yeah, he just said something inappropriate. Whatever joke or whatever he said caught these boys' attention, as he says. And he implements the fact that Karmelo was there and the fact that he just left middle school to go see some people, middle school, his friends, and that's okay. But it's not okay for somebody to be under somebody else's tent from another school. I'm just saying, because this is what happens. I used to go to the high school students used to come to the middle school when I was in middle school, my uncles and stuff. They was never banned. I mean, I'm just saying things are different, but y'all hear what happened here.
Uncalled for. When I turned around and asked him who he was, he started getting really aggressive. My brother stepped in. He started being, how he always is with me, just brothers.
So again, they start off by basically saying Karmelo must have said a joke, something they didn't like. They all look back like, who the hell is this guy? And then they exchanged word, and then his brother stepped in. That's where the guilt from the beginning was showing, because it started with him getting into something, not minding his business.
Just having my back, and things started getting more like higher intensity, and the kid said some like aggressive stuff, like reckless stuff.
Aggressive stuff, nobody has to give direct words anymore or direct statements at all. Not at all.
And also try to handle the problem. And
yeah.
Austin was always one to step up. He always was one to step up and be the person that would do the right thing. And he was doing the right thing by saying to this gentleman that you're not supposed to be in this tent. This is like, because they have personal items there.
A lot of stuff gets stolen, just like that, just precautions and stuff. And our coaches always told us don't let, other schools, like mess with our stuff, just sit around our tent area. And we set that up for the girls' track every meet we had. So it's just like, he knew he wasn't supposed to be there. And it's just a tragedy what happened.
Okay.
I grabbed him. I see.
You what? You grabbed him.
I saw him.
Let's go back.
He got right now the bleach.
Let's listen.
Just a tragedy what happened.
Let's listen, y'all.
And then
said,
what happened,
I grabbed him,
after your brother stepped up?
Listen.
What happened then?
So that stop is what everybody on social media heard when he paused. That was somebody in the background directing him. We heard a little voice in the background.
Stepped over there, asked him to move, got aggressive, he grabbed the bag. And then I whipped my head around, and then all of a sudden I see him running down the bleachers, grabbing his chest.
So who grabbed the bag? Did Karmelo grab his bag, then you turned your head? Did your brother grab Karmelo's bag, then you turned your head? Obviously, Karmelo grabbed his bag, but his story is not being told by the first person when he said he grabbed his bag and not turned around. This is when we hear selective memory engorgement. I made that one up right there, where everybody just start talking and then you say something that somebody from a third party saw. So that somebody must have told him, like, yeah, he grabbed the bag. That's when you turned around. Because he don't want to tell his story. Because his story is going to tell that they started some shit. And it was about 5 or 6 minutes of anticipation. And that his brother pushed him while he was standing, and then sat down and pushed him again. And that's when Karmelo pushed him and then stood up and jabbed him. That's what I'm seeing that happen. But let's keep it moving while we're reviewing this, because we have 2 special events coming up on the 19th and the 20th, and we need to be aware and shed light on this case, because Karmelo should not be sentenced to 35 years. I don't care, period. We're going to have to apply law correctly and start draining the swamp. Shout out to Mega.
I'm sorry. Mega. Sorry. He said, he got stabbed. First I froze for half a second. I didn't know what to do. he said, he got stabbed. He got stabbed first off for head around, and then all of a sudden I see him running down the bleachers, grabbing his chest, just blood rushing out. He said, he got stabbed. He got stabbed. First I froze for half a second. I didn't know what to do.
And that's when
And then I
you saw all those people running towards that direction, and then some people running behind Karmelo.
saw him about to fall. I would go over there.
It was all my fault. It was all my fault. Well, how was it your fault? Because you engaged a conflict that your brother continued to save you from. And this time he didn't diffuse, he took on the torch and took on your aggressive behavior, or maybe the behavior that allegedly the cheerleaders said that you guys have when people don't say the things you want them to say. So maybe Karmelo said something you ain't want him to say, just like the cheerleaders. So now we showed you that. Kind of, you see the difference. You got to see how is the control of the narrative, how he's never telling a full story. And this is what I know they lie. Listen, I ain't homeschool raised too by myself to not see when they lying. If the story is not consistent in time order, you better think about it. Baby, you better think about it. Okay, so we got that. Now, should we show a few PowerPoints before we get into the podcast that's really going to make people aggravated? It's going to make me aggravated too. Okay, because that podcast that I got from AI, it just like it really shows you how the defense did nothing, nothing, nothing. Hold on. Let me is this it? Let me show you. Okay, let me show you real quick the state's actual exhibits, the 50 something pages. Y'all want to see that? Y'all want to fly through that? Jesus, Jesus, look what they done did to my black brother. Nothing. They didn't defend. That was a public defender working on Karmelo case. I feel so bad for the family because it's so hard to choose lawyers or find someone that would take up cases because of biasness. So he showed the field, he showed the twins coming in, he see the sensational Karmelo getting kicked out. Nobody really shows Karmelo coming in or how long it was. I have a clip though, it's here, but nobody really do emphasize when Karmelo actually got there to how long he was sitting there before the boys showed up. This is Karmelo running, the two people coming behind him. They have numerous evidence that they want to show and put in front of people. We pretty much saw this throughout the clip, but this is more close. Y'all can see it. Yeah, we can see things a little bit more close. Check it out. I know I'm moving fast. Shout out to my long form viewers and my short form. We need to get us in the algorithm when our short form uploads. Y'all already know. Hit the like button. So let's see what else they got here. This is the area of the stand. Also, when you listen to the podcast, this was something that was said that one of the medics or officers put Karmelo Anthony bag on top of the knife. So this was another point of contingency that the defense could have used and said, check the fingerprints. Everything is blurred. Reasonable doubt. Just like that's why I showed you that clip of that lawyer. I like people with common sense. All they had to do is establish reasonable doubt. His hands wasn't on that knife. How did you know he stabbed? How did you know it wasn't one of the friends there? How do we really know when we have all the people testifying saying that they don't mess with Karmelo, they don't know him, but then we have one lying. The only thing that they showed in the defense exhibit, the curly hair, E, the buddy. I'm gonna call him E because I forgot his name. The buddy. Be careful, y'all. I'm trying to tell y'all. All right. Can you send this to all the towers, Coach? Can you tell Austin to put on his black shorts? Okay. He talks about the show that Austin was in charge. He had some charge. So if I was the defense, I would have like, well, if he was so in charge, why he didn't tell everybody to move out of that walkway where it was obviously a fire hazard and something that he should be enforcing? Pick and choose. Like I'm picking up everything. Okay. What is this? From the coach. You guys keep leaving early, so just know that you guys are probably not going to the district meeting. Okay, this is their conversation. They're getting on them about stuff. So this is the picture of the scene. Now this is all that's introduced by the state. Okay, we still rolling. And this a little ass tense. Excuse my language. God forgive me. I'm sorry. I've been doing so good. That's a little tense. So this is the knife, which we see he left on the stand. He wasn't thrown anywhere. They said it was thrown in the bushes. On my last podcast, you see how AI lies about it was thrown in the bushes. No, it was right here. He dropped it and he hauled butt. So this is an example of another stand. Liberty, I mean, well, Canopy. And this is another. Now, there's stuff that's under there, the other people. So that is a plausible excuse that, Austin was supposed to be watching people bag, but for 7 minutes, what was going on? Did he see Karmelo going into somebody's bag? What was the thing to make him talk to Karmelo? According to his brother, Karmelo said something stupid. Now, I don't know what color was Karmelo book bag, but they're showing this book bag. And they talk about the items that he had. We're showing you everything. Show you everything. I didn't look through all of this. So I guess this is Karmelo's bag that he left, that he didn't take with him. All right. So it's a few more pictures that we could show you, but we're not. It's a lot more. So this is what the defense actually was able to show. And what the prosecutors, the state was able to show, and the defense, their lack of. Okay? It was just a little bit ridiculous. Now, let's see if we can get to a few of these important PowerPoints that I want to get to you guys. Yep. We're going to look at some of the testimony, and then we'll listen to the podcast, and I'm going to get off the screen and I'm going to let y'all rock out in the audience. If y'all don't agree, whatever, y'all can get on, but please, let's act like we got some common sense, and at least we all purple and represent America properly. Shit. Act like y'all right around Mama Grace, okay? So this is the dispatch of the stabbing. This is the track meet. This was the weather. Again, drizzly, transitioning to steady rain, which we saw. So this was something that they tried to highlight. Did he try to highlight in opening statements somewhat? But no, everything was about sensationalism and Karmelo Antony's persona, which was not supposed to be talked about. It was weird, but I don't know. Anyway, so this is the dispatch. This is just a scene of everything, okay? So let's get to the next one. Thank you for being here. Shout out, I've been taking my time because I'm trying to definitely present in a good manner for the family, for the situation, for you guys, because it's been a mockery that's been going on with these cases and the way that mainstream media is making it seem that we're behaving. Okay? Yeah, cook on this. Okay? So this was the first thing that Karmelo said. He put his hands on me. I told him not to. People was like, "Oh, well, he told on himself. He told on himself." Literally, he's like, "Yo, he touched me. He touched me." Just like a little kid would. Like, he hit me first. He hit me first. That's somebody telling you exactly what happened. He hit me first, so I hit him back. I don't think Karmelo has the brain capacity, highlighting his age, and his frontal cortex is not developed like the average human boy. Usually develop around 24, where they have more common sense. That he plant after this high emotional thing that I'm a run and poke, then I'm gonna say he started it. It was all in the heat of passion. That's why I do believe this is not first degree murder. Okay, this is second degree. So this is his demeanor. So we talk about the demeanor, where we're going to show you a little bit of the coaches of what they say, and that shows you more that Karmelo was acting in emotion. It wasn't calculated. First degree has to be calculated, planned. Now, just because he had time to put his hand in his bag and say, if you do something else, I'm going to get you. How much calculation can you plan in those little bit of time? It's either I'm about to get him or I'm going to haul ass or I'm going to do both. It's not too much calculation, but it has to be also intent. And the way Karmelo pushed, jabbed, and ran, his intent may not have been just to like do bodily injury that caused death, because he didn't do an action like an average person would. That was like ching, 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 everybody. Sorry, y'all, I'm Haitian. Y'all picked the right person. I'm telling you, that's why God made me do it like this. And I had to be calm and watch, because I'll be like, yo, if I'm in a situation, everybody gonna die. I'm sorry, God forgive me. We all going to hell or jail. If I got 5 chicks on me and I got a gun, I mean, not a gun. Let's not even talk about a gun, a knife. I don't care where I'm at. A studio, your house, my house, and 5 around me. Pop, 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 pop. I'm getting out of there. More than one person. And I'm just telling you from I maybe not be average. Am I not average? I thought we believe in self-defense in America. I'm not to promote violence, but self-defense. We have a Second Amendment right. We have a right to defend ourselves against our government and tyranny. So we don't have a right to defend ourselves against our own citizens. I'm just saying, I'm just being honest. So this was Karmelo Anthony's defense not defense. First thing he said, where they kind of try to use it against him. I want us to think about this, how this can be applied. Why would he say this? Because I'm guilty. He was guilty. Like, yo, I would have said, I did it. I would have did it. If everybody did that to me, I'd be like, yeah. What the hell was to say next? That wasn't saying I'm a cold-blooded murderer. That's what happened. Now let's get to the circumstances around it. So, this was a PowerPoint that I had, the indictment and the plea, just some information about that, about the charges. The first count was initial and knowing cause of death of Metcalf by stabbing him with a knife. Intentionally and knowingly causing the death. I don't think intentionally and knowingly that he was going to do that. That's where we talk about the heat of passion. When intent to cause seriously bodily injury, committing an act clearly dangerous to human life by stabbing Austin Metcalf with a knife, causing death. Now, I will go with 2 and hold that under the manslaughter, because when you got a knife, you know it's going to hurt. It ain't going to be like you punching. So that's acceptable. That's understandable. Does that make some sense? All right, let's move on, because we're going to get to the podcast that's going to get a lot of us mad, but I don't care. We're going to listen, and we're going to argue with the people, with the AI. They're not people. We're going to argue with him. So this is the defense narrative. The defense detailed the event April 2nd, 2025 from Melo's perspective. Okay, highlighting that key contextual factors that the state omitted: the weather, and that's glad that he allegedly brought that up. It was raining on and off. His team did not have a tent, only a tarp. Okay, so they were seeking shelter. As you can see, he should have showed the other students being huddled under there. Okay, it was a friendly visit. Again, he should have drilled his buddy E a little bit more deeper, but he was able to present the pictures and say, hey, ain't this your friend? Ain't this your friend? Ain't this your cousin? Which made him uncredible. The confrontation, the situation changed when Austin Metcalf and another student confronted Melo, who was sitting. The defendant stressed the size different. Melo is 135 and Metcalf is 215. Damn, he big. He big. That's big. Okay. All right, so let's go on to the next slide. It's going to highlight the most important stuff before we get to the podcast. Thank you for being here again. I truly believe that this case should be tried again. I truly believe that this judge should be removed off of the case, especially highlighting the biases, the continued craziness that we have seen in these cases that involved us. But again, that's just my opinion. All right. So the witness testimony, this is the head coach. So just so we can get an idea of what the head coach said, and allegedly This is when he said he put his hand on him. So the background relationship with the victim. Head track coach and assistant football coach in Fresno Memorial High School knew Austin Metcalf and his twin brother in their football position coach. Consider Austin a team leader and a football captain. Was upset with Austin for leaving a previous track meet clearly to go finish and had threatened to kick him off the team as a teaching point to motivate him. No, he was going to kick him off the team because these boys allegedly was uncontrolled. They won't even talk to the coach. Now, keep this in mind, people, single parents, I don't know, parents, people got people in football. When your kids act up, sometimes it takes a community. You go to the coach like, listen, you better get on him because, yeah, they need penalty, this, that, and third. The coach in himself was having issues within his realm. I'm talking about us as a parent going as third party. He like, man, you about to get kicked off. That's more than a threat because once he don't do it, then these boys gonna act up more and more. So that wasn't just, I don't think that was just like a fluff type of threat. Okay. So the day of the incident, sent the text to Austin. That's what you were seeing. To be a leader. Was always from, okay, it says was away from the team tent, retrieving a crock pot from the concession around 10 a.m. This is where he was at. What the heck they was cooking? Okay, so saw commotion and rushed back, finding Austin on the ground with a big hole on his chest. Now, y'all remember watching that video, what I told y'all to watch. It was 3 people literally across the stand just looking like they was watching, like they couldn't been so much in deep conversation that you're not paying attention. No way. Everybody see when fights and things about to happen, especially highlighting that it wasn't as chaotic as they're making it seem. You saw the video. Y'all saw the video. It was pretty calm, cool, collective. Am I tripping a little bit? Okay. We're getting down to the last 2 things that I want to present to you. And then we're going to get to it. This is the other coach witness testimony. Vince Hopper, a coach at Heritage High School, was on the track when Tiffany Whitaker pointed to Karmelo Anthony. He was walking with his back to Whitaker and turned when she called him out. He was walking with his back to Whitaker. Okay, I'm thinking too much. Okay, she passed Karmelo off to him. Okay. So let's get into what he said. He recounted his conversation. I said, "What did you do?" And he goes, "He put his hands on me and I stabbed him." Now, I'm going to say this, and I got to say this. This is my opinion. Everybody not built like this. Like, everybody not built to fight. Like, that's just not the way it is all the time. And when I looked at Karmelo Anthony's father and then rehear the stupid that Charleston White said that, oh, he weak, he this, and just try to get this man excited and just a wicked crackhead. But what that goes to say, I don't think he trained Karmelo to fight. So he may have said, listen, you take this dive, you better juke. Because Karmelo looked like he did exactly what he was told. Boom, boom, ran. He don't want to be in no shit. Oh, excuse my language. This is kind of what I'm looking at when it comes to the dynamics and the upbringing and the way that he moved and looking at the father. He don't look like he was a fighter, which we have to consider Karmelo's background. Did he ever had a fight? Versus 2 kids that's 85 pounds bigger than him and known for fighting and even bullying girls and saying, bitch, I'll beat your ass, for saying, we lost. You my cheerleaders. And it's not allegedly. The TikTok detective have caught it. They have caught the mom in one of those rooms talking about, yeah, it happened, but they never went forward with it. You never correct your sons with it. That's why people don't have sympathy to a certain extent, but I can see. All right, so what else did he say? Give me one more second. And it says Harper described that telling Karmelo that Austin died. If Austin dies, you just change your life for the rest of your life. At this point, Karmelo started crying. Because he like, damn, like this man done did it to me. I done had these 2 big ass linebacker GMO in my face. I know I couldn't beat him. I could have busted around and had a seizure. I'm just kind of saying allegedly. Me putting myself in Carmelo's shoes, not black, not white, purple. Just me, my age, because I used to get into stuff like this. I would have been fucked up in the head, knowing all the things that I had working for me. I'm just gonna be honest. I could have been in that situation a lot of times. I'm just keeping it real. Let's move forward. I can understand him breaking down and crying, and that's not omission of guilt. That's of guilt, like guilty. I meant to do it. Is guilty. Guiltiness rests right on his conscience. All right, the last PowerPoint, and then we're gonna. I think that was it. That was hyper. Well, we had that one. Oh, so this is the contradicting testimonies that we're going to listen to a little bit. They get to at the podcast. So the key point of the contradictions during the trial was the unspoken rule or the track culture, because there wasn't no track culture. People made friends there. This is supposed to be like I probably met my girlfriend from another school, like that type stuff going on. Both sides agree that the track meets are different from other sports, with athletes having more freedom to move around. However, the interpretations of the tent in the private space varies. So you have the state position where they said it's an unspoken rule, not that they said it is a rule. No way. So people can't keep saying he wasn't supposed to be there. He should have just moved. Why? We don't know y'all unspoken rules. She, if I came from where I'm from and I'm sitting there, I'm just trying to sit down. I have done that, sat in other people's tent, on their side by mistake and not by mistake, because the sun was on that side. Just shit. They like looking at me because I was the mama from the other side. Be shut up. It's hot. Okay. And then when I cheer for my team, just shut the hell up. It's a game. So it's no rules to that. It's all about decorum and us having some damn self-control. But I'll move forward. I was a football mom. I used to see them fight all types of stuff. This shit is serious for people who only 0.1% will even get into the league, and your kids having a concussion. Please let's not sidebar. This is what all of this is for. The defense position versus which is highlighting Coach Whitaker, highlighting track meets are long led back events with significant downtime. Please excuse me because this is small on my screen. It's not usual for athletes who are friends from other schools to visit other tents for brief friendly conversation. That's a damn lie, and I don't believe that. And that's when we get to the good old boy system. So today, we're going to have to determine or at least pray what we want to happen when it comes to August the 19th and the 20th. And what I pray that will happen is that um, the judge is removed. Judge Cockroach is removed because severe bias. And I'm glad that they move the appeal papers ahead at this particular hearing, these motions, to recruit him based on something so like administrative. Okay, that gave me some hope because he purposely locked some people out. And I know they can't add testimony to it, but them people have experienced what happened on that day. Those days going in court, being bullied, some people getting in, some people not holding spots. It wasn't how like an open meeting was supposed to be. Y'all, my old viewers know what open meeting act is and how the city could get in trouble for not following it. So this is really good for me. Okay. Also, the undercover deal. No way. No way that was supposed to happen. And his family didn't know ahead of time. Everything is supposed to be transparent. This is why Mike Howard should be disbarred. Y'all better start a petition for that ass. Disbar his ass. Because when y'all listen to this podcast and hear how much they basically prove the state's side, you're gonna be pissed off at that son of a bitch. Excuse my language. I'm just being honest. You're gonna be pissed off with him. Okay? Because I am. So let me put this on the screen real quick so I can get.
So I want you to just picture this.
This is going to be the podcast, guys. So we got a few minutes. I'm going to skip through like 7 minutes because it kept talking about the EMT and everything. And I didn't really like that. So This was the major issue before we get to it. A 10-minute ultimatum is what Karmelo had. The defense was given 10 minutes to counsel with Anthony regarding his Fifth Amendment right, his right to go and testify. Do y'all think that's okay? Everybody's purple. Everybody's motherfucking purple. Do you think that's okay? The pressure is on. They couldn't even tell him the day before. You know this wasn't right representation. Seriously? Then the strategy shift. Facing the immediate threat of the prosecutor unleashing Anthony's unsealed school disciplinary record and phone contacts, the defense chose to pivot. Anthony ultimately declined to testify, a massive 180 shift from the original trial strategy. So it may have been that Anthony was going to testify. If it is proven that he was going to testify and this deal has something to do with it, which made him change his mind, this lawyer needs to lose his license. He needs to lose his bar license. Did I say enough? So on August 19, the motion to recuse Judge Roach is going to be separate from the August 20th motion for a new trial. The defense will argue that the verdict should be thrown out due to the constitutional violations, jury instruction error. Remember, I said something about the jury instructions. If he did not give him good jury instructions or if it was biased, baby, that was amazing. And collapsed gentleman agreement, the prevention that prevented Anthony from testifying. Okay, so they do have some good standing points, but then if you guys TikTok, y'all know what y'all do, YouTube, find out about this judge that's hearing it. Does he has connection? Most likely they do, because just like out here in Fulton County, where the judge was overseeing if a family witness was supposed to be getting in trouble, that was her buddy. She actually used to be his boss. This is shit that we know. Okay. So now what we're going to do is finish off in podcast form. Do y'all want me to get to some of y'all comments before I get off the screen? I want to say thank you for being with us. We're at 2.5 hours. We're going to only cook for another half an hour. This is a good deep dive. Now, before we start this, there's one pinned comment that I do want to highlight. If y'all don't know, I'm a Hebrew. My name is Miss Grace, and I'm from the tribe of Levi, the chosen people. And I want to let you know, when I talk about God and I talk about the Bible, I don't have a religion. Being a Hebrew is not a religion, that's a nationality, okay? But I'm not even going to the side. Someone put here is religion is one of the main reasons why we have in all of this tyranny. No, hate, the division by color, the trade, the slave trade that happened. God in the Bible, and that the Bible, which was like one of the oldest documents next to when you go to the Ethiopian Bible and then the Dead Sea Scroll, it talks about this stuff. It talks about us as people not practicing what we supposed to, listening to God ways, not of the religion, like the stories of what God punished people for. So I'm not here to be a religious. I got a prophetic mindset. Somebody said I can read the Bible and look at today and apply it, use these stories. And that's what you guys need to do. So religion is not the main issue. It's the hate, is the division that the controllers wants to use against us. And it's also our mindset, our perspective. We can't switch our perspective because we keep jumping from shit to shit, stressing, bro. This, that, and the third. Okay? That's really our problem. That we the underdogs in this system want to keep us under their damn foot by being in controversy all the time. Okay? So I just wanted to highlight that. Me being a Hebrew sister, I'm a little bit different. I'm from the tribe of Levi. We're a little bit rough, but I grew up under Judah. So I totally understand Black America. And I'm from Jersey, a melting pot of people. Like, baby, in my area where I'm from, Essex County, we're a melting pot. Okay. So that's the commentary that you get from me. So that I just wanted to clarify that, let y'all know that I'm trying to wake up one person at a time and keep it moving. So let's just watch this together, guys. We're going to listen to the breakdown of day 2 trial and also the battle between the two AI talking about this, what we do. Okay. But they're doing it from a legal perspective. Okay. It make sense. Let's play it.
It is an overcast, kind of drizzly April morning.
Okay, setting the scene.
Yeah, you are standing at a high school track meet. This is at Kendall Stadium in Frisco, Texas. And if you have ever spent a Saturday morning at one of these things, you know the exact sensory profile of this environment.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You've got kids in these brightly colored track gears warming up on the synthetic turf. You've got those pop-up team canopies scattered all across the bleachers.
Wait, just to keep the duffel bags dry and everything.
Exactly. And you've got like half-eaten snacks shoved into the pockets of backpacks.
Right.
It is this setting that you just instinctively associate with the sharp crack of starting guns, the clicking of stopwatches, and just the general, kinetic energy of teenagers on a weekend.
It's a very specific violent scenario.
Yeah, you don't know what you're walking into.
Exactly. The brevity of those dispatch notes forces first responders to prepare for the absolute worst-case scenario regarding scene safety and patient condition.
So when Adams arrives at the stadium, his unit isn't even the primary medical asset on the scene.
Oh, they weren't first?
No, Engine 1, which operates out of a station closer to the stadium, had already arrived. The crew of Engine 1 is actively performing CPR on the victim, Austin Metcalf, by the time Adams pulls up.
So it's already a critical situation.
Extremely. Adams jumps out of the passenger side.
Y'all, somebody said this, the Dead Sea Scrolls aren't the Ethiopian Bible. No, the Ethiopian Bible has the remnants of what the Dead Sea Scrolls have in it, okay? But the Dead Sea Scrolls has way more, okay? Just to throw that out there. Let's not talk about the Bible. Y'all gonna distract me. Let's get back to the podcast, okay? Y'all don't know history like how I know history. Please, 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 please. Yes, we could go word for word, blow for blow. I love you guys. Let's finish watch this.
He grabs his life pack equipment, and he actually has to scale a fence to reach the stadium level, taking over as the paramedic in charge.
Wow, just jumping right in.
Literally. And when the prosecutor asks Adams for his initial assessment of the patient, the transcript reflects a stark shift in the courtroom's atmosphere.
I can imagine.
The clinical detachment of his description is just heavy.
Yeah, Adams testifies, and I quote, "Pupils were fixed, dilated. He was gray."
Detail in the scene management. In the photographs, a large blue canopy tent covers the immediate medical workspace.
Okay.
But Adams testifies that when he arrived, that tent was not there. He physically ordered the school's memorial team tent to be picked up and moved directly over the victim.
Because of the weather.
Yes, it was drizzling, the rain was intensifying, and they needed a dry environment to manage sharp medical instruments and open wounds.
Oh.
But ordering civilians or officers to pick up a massive canopy and drag it across a crime scene completely alters the physical footprint of the area. It introduces a massive vector for evidence destruction, doesn't it?
It absolutely compromises the forensic integrity of the immediate area. Without
Now, guys, I'm going to let this rock out and I'm going to step away, but this is the last thing. Please don't put this up here. If you put this up here, I'm going to block you. We don't do subliminal messages. We don't do to keep repetitive. We need somebody with higher learning. Y'all got to do better, okay? If y'all put this in my comment, I'm going to block you guys. Do better, okay?
a doubt. But this illustrates the strict hierarchy of triage for first responders.
Life over evidence.
Every single time. When a patient is in cardiac arrest, the preservation of blood spatter patterns or the exact positioning of trace evidence is entirely irrelevant to the paramedics.
Right, their only job is to save a life.
Life safety supersedes crime scene preservation always. If a paramedic needs to move a tent, or
And the reason why they're saying that is because they move things around. They put the book bag allegedly on top of the knife, which did not preserve the evidence, and the defense could have used that.
cutaway clothing, or even kick potential evidence out of the workspace to operate a life pack or deploy a El Duquesne device, they do it without hesitation.
And the prosecution gets ahead of this, right?
Yes. They have Adams explain the weather conditions. They show the jury that the scene wasn't compromised through police negligence, but through the desperate, necessary actions of paramedics trying to save a life in the rain.
And this circles back to the prosecution's structural strategy. Establishing that Austin Metcalf died on that track checks the first legal box. The corpus delicti, the body of the crime.
Right. Step one is proving a murder happened.
Exactly. But proving a catastrophic injury occurred doesn't prove who inflicted it, nor does it establish the state of mind of the person who did.
Reasonable doubt. And that's where the defense were supposed to, basically say, hey, if his fingerprints not on it and it's other people's fingerprints, how did you know that he did it? How did you know? It's just people testimony. But if it's more than one fingerprint or it's no fingerprint on it, where is the physical evidence? Testimony is not considered like, okay, it's first person is good, but over the physical evidence is better.
Which is the hardest part.
So to shift the focus toward intent, the prosecution freezes the timeline at the exact moment the suspect was captured.
Okay, shifting gears.
This brings us to Officer Eduardo Cortez taking the stand to authenticate body-worn camera footage.
And transitioning from the clinical testimony of the paramedic to the chaotic, adrenaline-fueled footage of a body-worn camera fundamentally changes the jury's sensory intake.
Because it's suddenly so real.
Exactly. Paramedic testimony requires the jury to imagine the scene based on clinical descriptions. Body cam footage forcibly transports them right into the environment.
Yeah, they hear the breathing, they see.
So do you hear what they're saying? Basically, this expert, in his view, made the audience or the jurors look at it in a certain way. That's why people said it was so important for the defense to have legal experts, people who can explain the scenario, scenery from a expert point of view, giving more visual cues and things like that, just like they're doing right now. That's why they're highlighting this, because this is what the prosecutors did, but the defense did not.
See the erratic movement.
They hear the ambient noise of the crowd, the rain, all of it.
The prosecution enters Exhibits 77A and 78A. These are the body cam files from Officer Cortez and his partner, Officer Ricci.
And how much do they play?
The prosecutor plays a roughly 4-minute clip. Cortez testifies that the camera requires manual activation. And as he is running from Staley Middle School toward the stadium, you can see his wedding ring on his hand in the frame.
Wow.
It just paints the suspect as a traumatized kid reacting to a threat, not a cold-blooded aggressor. It practically begs for a self-defense narrative.
You might assume that, but the prosecution isn't playing the...
The prosecutor plays a roughly 4-minute clip. Cortez testifies that the camera requires manual activation. And as he is running from Staley Middle School toward the stadium, you can see his wedding ring on his hand in the frame.
Wow.
It's just the visual of the ring juxtaposed with the sprint toward a stabbing is striking.
It humanizes the officer immediately.
It really does. The footage captures the officers taking the suspect, Karmelo Antony, into custody and walking him down a hill. And on the audio, Karmelo is sobbing and crying heavily.
And during the direct examination regarding this audio, the defense attorney initiates a pretty significant legal challenge.
What happens?
Well, the prosecutor asks Officer Cortez if he hears crying and sobbing from the defendant on the tape, and the defense objects on the grounds of hearsay.
Hearsay, just for crying.
Yes. They argue that the prosecution is attempting to introduce an out-of-court statement without the defendant taking the stand.
That seems like a stretch.
The judge thought so too. The judge overrules the objection, noting that crying is a physiological act, not a statement asserting a fact, and therefore falls entirely outside the definition of hearsay.
Okay, so the crying is a physiological act, but the crux of the footage is an actual spoken phrase.
Right.
And mind you, this is the defense that tried to get that out of them talking about him crying. The defense weird. They're weird.
There are words spoken.
Through the sobbing, specifically on Officer Ricci's camera where the audio track is clearer, Karmelo Antony distinctly says, "I told him not to."
I told him not to.
Yes. That phrase is absolutely a statement, but introducing a weeping teenager saying, "I told him not to," seems like a massive gift to the defense, right?
You'd think so.
It paints the suspect as a traumatized kid reacting to a threat, not a cold-blooded aggressor. It practically begs for a self-defense narrative.
You might assume that, but the prosecution isn't playing the tape for the emotional resonance of the tears.
Why then?
They're playing it for the cognitive implications of those 6 words. While the statement is technically hearsay, it is an out-of-court statement offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted. It is universally admissible under the statement by a party opponent exception.
So because he's the defendant, they can use it.
Exactly. The state uses this specific phrase to systematically dismantle any claim of sudden passion or imminent panic.
Oh, I see.
Yes, I told him not to prove that the defendant was engaged in a verbal negotiation and issued a command prior to the physical violence.
So he was thinking, not just reacting.
Exactly. It establishes a timeline of cognitive processing. He made a demand, the demand was not met, and he subsequently made a conscious decision to escalate to lethal force.
Wow, that completely undercuts the sudden panic.
Now, mind you, they're saying that undercuts the sudden panic, but then no one is highlighting what we saw in the video where Austin actually sits down the second time, slides next to Karmelo, then pushes him. That is where things change and it intensifies for Karmelo, in my opinion.
Defense.
It totally removes the defense's ability to claim he was reacting blindly to a sudden ambush.
It anchors his state of mind in a pre-existing dispute rather than a sudden reflex.
Yeah.
Following the audio, the state introduces Exhibit 69. This is a photograph taken in the back of the patrol vehicle. It documents a specific laceration on Karmelo Antony's left middle finger.
And I didn't show you none of that. They had pictures of him being arrested.
Okay, an injury to the hand.
Officer Cortez testifies he photographed it to preserve the physical state of the suspect at the moment of arrest, regardless of its ultimate forensic value.
Which is standard protocol. Documenting minor lacerations on a suspect in a knife crime is crucial.
What does the cut on the hand tell them?
Well, a cut on the hand holding a knife can indicate the suspect's hand slipped down the blade during a high-force impact, which speaks to the velocity and intent of the strike.
Right, if you hit something hard, your hand slides forward.
Exactly. Conversely, if the defense argues self-defense, they might attempt to recharacterize that cut as a defensive wound sustained while trying to ward off an attack.
So they have to document it immediately.
Yes. By photographing it right away, the state locks in the exact nature of the injury before it heals or is altered, allowing forensic experts to debate the mechanics of the laceration later in the trial.
Before Officer Cortez concludes his testimony, the prosecution pivots to a specific line of questioning regarding the booking process.
This is a very interesting legal detail.
Cortez testifies that there was immediate concern regarding whether the suspect was 17 years old or older, because under Texas penal law, a 17-year-old is classified as an adult for criminal proceedings.
Right. Texas law is very strict on that.
Consequently, Karmelo was transported to the Frisco Police Department jail for processing, not a juvenile detention facility.
And the prosecutor makes a point to emphasize this jurisdictional threshold to the jury.
Why bring it up at all?
Because the setting of the crime, a high school track meet surrounded by students, naturally pushes a jury to view the individuals involved through the lens of adolescence.
They see kids.
Right.
And that's why they portray Karmelo the way they did and try to push him into adult status. The boy didn't even graduate from high school yet. But this is what they do to us. And that's real.
By having the arresting officer explicitly state that the suspect was processed in an adult jail under Texas law, the prosecution subtly calibrates the jury's perspective.
Reminding them they are judging an adult.
Exactly. They are evaluating the actions and culpability of an adult under the law, despite the high school backdrop.
That is a brilliant, subtle shift.
Very calculated.
So with the suspect in custody and the victim transported, the physical footprint of the trial moves from the track up into the bleachers where the altercation actually occurred.
The crime scene itself.
The state calls Officer Jacob Schels. His objective was to secure the immediate crime scene in the stands prior to the arrival of the specialized crime scene investigators.
Getting up there first.
Officer Schels testifies to the spatial layout. The murder weapon, a knife, is located between rows 9 and 10. Lower down in the bleachers, between rows 6 and 7, sits a blue Nike Centennial backpack.
But again, the most critical variable Schels introduces is the weather.
Right, the drizzle.
The drizzle that paramedic Adams mentioned has escalated into steady rain, accompanied by increasing wind.
Mind you, it looked like it's been like that at the beginning of what we showed you. Okay, it was a reason why he was seeking shelter. No one's going to be in the rain. That's just normality. No one's going to do that.
Schels testifies that the rain is actively washing blood evidence off the blade of the knife before the crime scene units can even arrive to photograph it.
The environment is actively eroding the physical proof of the crime right in front of him.
Exactly. It's a nightmare for an officer.
So Schels is forced into a rapid mitigation strategy. He and another officer deploy a blue tarp to cover the knife and preserve whatever trace evidence remains.
Okay, good thinking.
But because the wind is threatening to blow the tarp away, Schels grabs the closest heavy objects available to anchor the corners.
Right.
One of the objects he utilizes is the blue Nike Centennial backpack sitting 3 rows down.
Oh, no.
He testifies he had no...
That was Carmelo's bag. This is talking about basically the elements of a blotch investigation, but they're trying to make it seem like the rain is the reason why this happened.
knowledge at that moment that the backpack belonged to the suspect.
Wow.
But when I look at an officer picking up a suspect's belongings and placing them directly over the murder weapon, my immediate thought is that the defense will attempt to suppress the evidence entirely based on massive cross-contamination.
Oh, absolutely. It is the exact scenario defense attorneys look for when reviewing scene logs.
Because they touch everything together.
Right. Placing a suspect's personal property in direct proximity to a blood-soaked murder weapon under a tarp creates a severe risk of DNA transfer. A defense attorney could argue that any of the suspect's DNA found on the knife was transferred by the police tarp, not by the suspect wielding the weapon.
That's a huge problem for the state.
It is. However, the prosecutor, Mr. Mirsky, utilizes a trial tactic known as drawing the sting.
Drawing the sting.
Yes. Instead of waiting for the defense to expose this contamination during cross-examination and frame it as police incompetence, the prosecution introduces the error themselves during direct examination.
They just force the officer to own the messiness of the scene.
Precisely. They frame the contamination not as negligence, but as a necessary split-second triage decision forced by the environment.
Charles testifies he was losing blood evidence to the rain and had to anchor the tarp immediately.
Exactly. By presenting the context of the storm, the prosecution neutralizes the defense's ability to claim a conspiracy of incompetence.
They align the jury with the reality that field work is dictated by the elements, not laboratory protocols. The prosecution methodically walks the jury through this compromised scene using a sequence of photographs. State's Exhibits 34, 35, and 53 document the knife on the aluminum bleachers.
Yeah.
And that's the pictures that I showed you, okay, guys? So remember, look at the pictures that I showed you earlier in the broadcast.
Charles points out that despite the rain, traces of blood are still visible on the handle and the blade. And a highly specific detail emerges here.
What's that?
Charles testifies that when he located the knife, the blade was not fully extended and locked into place.
Interesting.
Exhibit 44 shows the jury the blue tarp deployed over the area, anchored by the blue backpack. Then the state introduces Exhibit 25.
And what is Exhibit 25?
It is the physical blue Nike Centennial backpack itself brought right into the courtroom.
Okay, this is where the prosecution locks in a seemingly innocuous detail that will become the structural foundation of their entire case.
The backpack.
Yes. The prosecutor directs Officer Schals to examine the photograph of the backpack sitting on the tarp. He asks Schals to identify the state of the zipper.
The zipper?
Yes. Schals testifies under oath that when he found the backpack between rows 6 and 7 prior to moving it, the main compartment was unzipped and open.
Wow.
He did not open it, and he did not inventory it at the scene, but he confirms its physical state was open.
That is going to be so important later. To accompany the introduction of the backpack, the state makes a fascinating evidentiary maneuver regarding the knife.
Okay, what do they do?
They do not hand the actual blood-stained murder weapon to the officer on the stand.
Really?
Instead, they introduce Exhibit 88, which is a pristine demonstrative duplicate of the knife.
A duplicate.
The judge admits it for demonstrative purposes only, but why invest the effort in sourcing a replica when you have the actual weapon sitting right there in an evidence box?
It is a totally calculated piece of courtroom theater designed to maximize the tactile impact on the jury.
Tactile impact.
Yes. Think about it. If the prosecutor presents the actual murder weapon, chain of custody and biohazard protocols require the officer to don latex gloves and manipulate the knife delicately.
Right. They can't just wave a biohazard around.
Exactly. It's often kept sealed in rigid plastic packaging. And that packaging creates a psychological and visual barrier.
Exactly. So that's why they use the replica. People was trying to figure out why would they use the replica instead of using the actual knife. And it's because it's theater. It's theater. I want you guys to understand the approach. Even though the state did a more excellent job just throwing everything out and presenting the case, and there was no rebuttal really from the defense. But this was some of the tactics of the why behind them using a replacement knife, because in the bag it would have caused a psychological barrier of the reality of the weapon or the seriousness of the weapon
Between the weapon and the jury.
It makes it feel less real.
Exactly. By utilizing a pristine duplicate, the prosecutor can instruct the officer to step down from the witness stand, approach the jury box, and physically grip the weapon barehanded.
Oh, wow. Right in front of them.
Yes. It allows the jury to clearly see the size of the handle, the length of the blade, and the mechanics of the folding mechanism in a real-world, unmediated context.
That is incredibly effective. The narrative of the trial then transitions from the rain-swept bleachers to the climate-controlled environment of the police department laboratory.
A total shift in tone.
The state calls crime scene investigator Stephanie Martin. Her testimony serves to establish the chain of custody and document the forensic processing of the items recovered from the stadium.
Investigator Martin's testimony deliberately shifts the tempo of the trial.
It slows way down.
Yes. After the chaotic narratives of paramedics, running officers, and weather-compromised crime scenes, the meticulous item-by-item cataloging in a bright laboratory reestablishes an atmosphere of absolute procedural control.
She authenticates a series of photographs detailing the evidence. Exhibit 48 is Austin Metcalf's shoe. Exhibit 65 is Karmelo's sweatshirt, specifically identified in the record as an Essentials Fear of God brand hoodie.
Okay, very specific.
Exhibit 66 features a close-up of a white forensic marker indicating a red stain on that sweatshirt. She then moves to Exhibit 62 and 63, which document the internal contents of the blue Nike backpack.
The open backpack.
Right. Martin catalogs a laptop, car keys, a comb or hair pick, a tube of Aquaphor lotion, a bag of Cheez-Its, and a package of Ozark Trail hand warmers tucked into the bottom pocket.
Hearing a forensic investigator clinically catalog Cheez-Its and hand warmers alongside bloody clothing and a murder weapon creates a profound cognitive dissonance.
It is entirely jarring. You are...
The defense should have used that to show that Karmelo was a regular kid. But again, the state can been able to use it to their advantage.
Analyzing the mechanics of a homicide, and suddenly you are inventorying the mundane artifacts of a high school student's Saturday morning.
It strips away the clinical detachment of the legal process and violently grounds the narrative in adolescent reality.
It really does. But from a strict evidentiary perspective, introducing every single benign item seems like a massive drag on court time.
It is extremely time-consuming, but legally mandatory to establish the integrity of the evidence.
Because of the chain of custody.
Exactly. Under the legal doctrines governing chain of custody, the state must prove that the evidence collected is exactly the evidence presented, free from tampering or alteration.
Right, no funny business.
If the state only photographed the knife and the laptop, but ignored the snacks and lotion, a skilled defense attorney would immediately attack the methodology.
They'd say they were hiding something.
They would argue that if the police failed to document the Cheez-Its, they could have easily failed to document other exculpatory evidence, or worse, planted evidence in an undocumented void.
That makes total sense.
By methodically cataloging every single item, no matter how trivial, the prosecution builds an absolute wall against claims of sloppy forensic work.
And it confirms the physical inventory of the bag.
More importantly, yes, it sets the parameters for the eyewitness testimony.
Now, again, I want you guys to pay attention to the argument. See, the argument that the prosecutor was presenting, Karmelo did it. What the defense should have been proving is, yes, I know he did it, but it's not murder beyond a reasonable doubt. It wasn't it wasn't intentional. So instead of letting them keep presenting the same case of this was Karmelo, this is him, this was the knife, this was his bag, this was that, the defense could have admitted and got on ahead of it and said, but yes, we are not saying that it's not Karmelo. He's admitted in this already introduced it to level out what Karmelo said. I did it. The defense was supposed to bring that out. These are things that we kind of learn. This is for the people who are like legal beagles, like law, like to watch things like the YSL trial. This is for us. This is what they should have done in my eyes. Flipped a lot of what the prosecutor actually shown to say, yes, we know that's what happened, but it's the why. And they should have pushed the why more definite. So with that being said, I am going to stop right there. I think we got out to the 3-hour point. I'm not going to get further. I want to say thank you guys for being with us, holding on and having a long attention span. I hope you got some details out of this case that you never even knew exists, because in my own liking, I never knew that Karmelo allegedly had some things on his phone that they didn't want to show. And this was the leverage that the state had. Did y'all know that? So, with that goes to say, I do think he has grounds for appeal. We're going to be coming with a part. I think this is part 5. We're going to go into part 5 later on in the next coming days before the actual 2 dates, and we're going to get into a little bit more. What do I have for part 5? I'm not going to tell you guys, but I already have it lined up. But we are going to get into the true possibilities of him getting a new trial, the reality of it, okay? And we're going to get into a little bit more TikToks to see, can we try to see if this judge is actually connected to the prosecutor or the lawyer. Not the AI pictures, but we're going to see what we find, because there's some videos that's out there that they push down in the algorithm, and I seem to find it. I'm just keeping it real. So with that goes to say, I want to tell you guys, I want to say thank you so much for being here with Miss Grace. Y'all are amazing. I appreciate you guys. Next time y'all won't see me with my scarf, I'm letting my braids chill. I had to do my little braids, so I'm gonna get cute for y'all next time. But with that being said, I love you guys. You have a great evening, and the next deep dive we'll be doing on Nolan Wells. Okay, we're going to cook a little bit more on that case. We're going to get into the new interview, some of the factors that we already brung up, the 2 interviews today. And I'm just going to tell you, I probably don't agree with me, but I feel so bad for Wyatt. I do. That man stressing. And then to come to find out that he actually stayed the night. He was probably the only one who truly had love for Nolan, spent the night at his house and everything. This is why I believe Wyatt is looking sick, and why he may be the person that's going to tell. I just think that's going to happen. So with that goes to say, here's a word from our sponsor. Check me out Monday. I will be live in person at Fulton County Library, where I host an economic development seminar. Check it out.
Blowing cash on random TikTok trends? Instead, dive into Real Estate Monthly Info Sessions. Next level smart move. These sessions make real estate investing feel like a cheat code. Unlock wealth, understand tax lien auctions, and mitigate risks without the stress. Crazy affordable, like a Netflix subscription for your financial future. With thousands attending, it's legit. Wealth, knowledge, ease, don't miss out. Sign up now.
So the date has been set in the Karmelo Antony motion to recuse Judge Cockroach. It's set for August 19th in Collin County, 9 a.m. And it's not restricted from the public. So that means you need to be there, because we recall Judge Cockroach attempted and succeeded.
G